Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is August the 18th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1443 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2022 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Consular Court action. We are the sovereign living justices in caplis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. I am sovereign living justice Pauline Denise Ritchie, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is Light to Jury Bay. Both are in caplis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We are the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are Washington District for Columbia. We are the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the first and the primogenitors to all others. And today we are executing the law by our sovereign capacity, which is the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3, living United States District for Columbia Liquidation Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, secured creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, claimants, and beneficiaries in this ongoing cause for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby accept our sovereign ascension and exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, not pro tem. First thing on our list just to bring forth more is this. Whatever it is that you're preparing for, just think about the last 3 months of your living. Whatever you've been preparing for is what is going to start manifesting for you. And it's important to say that because there are some people who are prepping, quote unquote, and they're getting canned goods together, and they're squirreling away toilet tissue and things like that. And that means that they're preparing for famine, and they're preparing for lack. They're preparing for everything that's the opposite of what's happening for us. And I would suggest that you're thinking, that you transform your minds, because this is the time where our wealth manifests right in our hands. It's happening already. We actually have to prepare and put our energy into knowing and planning and strategizing on governing the wealth, because it's already here. It's already manifesting. And as we show that we can handle it, it's going to continue to manifest. I mean, we can all see that if we just take a moment and look. So my suggestion is, please don't plan for famine and lack, because those who do, that's what they're going to get. Because we are actually creating our future and manifesting our realities right now. So plan on making some lists on what you're going to do and what strategy you're going to use to manifest your money, your estate, your land. What are you going to do with it? Because the quicker we get those plans and those visions and those provisions written down and begin executing them right away, the sooner they will manifest. So don't take a lack mentality and start squirreling away things and all of that stuff. And that's our suggestion. Of course, you have to do according to whatever it is your divine urge is telling you. But we you know, in our spirits, we know. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Even when I thought some years back, if you go back to so a while back, we were hearing Moors say that, and we said, okay, if it's important to the Moors, it's important to us. So let's just tell people to, you know, put some water away, you know, put you some ramen noodles and all this kind of stuff away. And the ancestors are saying, no, that's not. I tried to do that. Some years back, I had a whole bunch of water that I put out into the garage. I had stacks and stacks of canned goods and noodles and all of that stuff. And the ancestors sent the devourer through. And we never had problems with rodents and things like that. But they ran through that stuff and then left. They came. They even put holes in the water bottles and stuff. And I'm like, but, and the ancestor said, that is not what we sent you here to do. It's for you to get ready to go underground. Because you're not going underground. The land is out here. This is ours. And in fact, everyone else is going away so that we can enjoy the fruits of the land. So the energy has to be now put forth to demonstrating who we are, period. And the ancestors are not even taking no for an answer. I know other original indigenous sovereigns who, you know, some of them spent upwards of 10 and 15,000 on stocking stuff away and ended up losing every bit of that because that's not why the ancestors sent us here. And they admitted that afterwards. They said the whole time the ancestors were saying, I don't know why you're doing that because y'all got to govern this land. So you're not going anywhere, but other folks are doing what they need to do. They're supposed to be prepping to, you know, to no longer occupy. So, you know, and that's at our behest, like we're doing with the resignation letters. We get to determine whether people are going to be here or not, you know. So why would, I mean, the whole earth would get nervous if we all started stacking away stuff and stocking away water and preparing to go underground. They would be like, no, that's not why we're doing that. You all are supposed to be preparing to enjoy, you know. So I just thought I would put that forth first and foremost because I hear people say, you know, put aside some of this and save you some of that and this and that and this and that. And again, if you want to do that, you're sovereign. No one can stop you. We can't tell sovereigns what to do. But I know that our ancestors sent us here to manifest this vast estate. It is so abundant that, I mean, when I think about the water, there's so much water. All you have to do is dig and you'll find water. Clean, clear water. I see it around here all the time. And it's endless water. Fresh from the earth. And it's never going to end. It's never going to go away. It's never going to be, there's never going to be a lack of it. We just have to see it and know. So with that being said, our thinking, our minds, and our authority to manifest are on full display. You know, some people say stack this and stack that. It's already stacked. We have more than we could ever imagine. Something I learned recently about our land, and our prophet told us, but now we actually can apply it in our daily lives. Our prophet said that, you know, when the European goes back to Europe, that the Moors are going to discover mountains of gold. Mountains of gold. Well, I found out recently, and I knew this in my spirit, but I needed the alchemy to prove it. But I found out recently that all mountains are made of ore in varying degrees. Some mountains are 98 or 99 or 100% ore, like iron ore. or they may be 98%. Or on a, if it's a mountain that's a completely, like in a different place or underwater or something, and then it's made of, 70% ore. But I found out that, all we have to do with ore in order to turn the ore, to manifest the gold that's in the ore, is mix it with sulfuric acid. And the sulfuric acid will disintegrate all the other metals and things and elements that are in the ore, and it only leaves gold, and the gold will sink to the bottom, and you just scrape the gold up. And you can do that with any mountain, any elements that you pull from the earth. If you want to know if it has gold in it, just put it in some sulfuric acid. So, the wealth is manifesting. All we have to do is look. It's all around us, and you know what? The whole earth knows that. They've been looking at us like you just drove past a mountain of gold, and it's Mount Rainier, it's Mount St. Helens, it's the Appalachian Mountains, it's, the Adirondacks at New York territory. It's, we have gold everywhere. We have minerals and elements everywhere, not just gold, others that it's endless amounts. We haven't even looked at the mountains that are underwater. We don't even. So, Moors, we should not be, and this is just a suggestion, we shouldn't be planning for famine and for lack, because everybody else is like, okay, we did everything that we were supposed to do, Moors, now it's your turn. So they're saying they're going to prep and get their canned goods and their toilet tissue and take it back where with them, while we manifest everything else around here. So with that being said, also, I want to say too that there are a few, and I had this conversation with one of our great empresses earlier this week. Many have been printing up the fiduciary money, and for that we are grateful. For those few who are having problems with your printer, check your contracts and make sure that you've terminated all corporate contracts. And make sure that your energy is clear with regard to all that we're doing, and that you don't doubt what's going on, because if you're feeling like your things aren't working but you're having problems with your printer, the printer is manifesting what it almost manifests what it should. You can't try to jump over to this step when when you're not sure about your demonstrations here that lead to all of that. So just a suggestion that if your printer is not acting right with regard to the fiduciary money, and it was the same thing with the Delarium. There are some whose printer was not quite doing right with the Delarium, and the 2 or 3 that I spoke to who had that issue, the further we investigated, we found that, they probably have some contracts that they still hadn't quite worked out terminating yet, and things like that. Our ancestors know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And then also with regard to things like that, sometimes you can do it, and then you can take a deep breath, clear your energy, and make sure that your energy is clear, and then try it again, and it will work that next time. So we have complete control over all of the instruments and the hardware, the software, the computers, everything, the wireless, all of that. We have complete control over that stuff. We just have to know that we do, and then clear our energy, make sure that contracts are terminated and all of that. So that way your system will manifest what it should at your command. And some might not think that that has anything to do with it, but it absolutely does. And here's the thing, whenever I hear more say, well, this, mine is not doing right, I already know in my spirit why. I already know why. The ancestors, because they have not changed. The ancestors are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the energies, they do things to protect us because they know, how to protect us. And so just something to keep in mind. They're going to protect us either way, But it's best that we learn to connect and stay connected. And our connection to them has never ended. But it's best that we listen to what's being said, even through these instruments that we use. And then take a deep breath, clear the energy, step away from it for a while, go for a walk, go grounding, take your shoes off and go outside and ground, and come back in and watch it work a whole lot better, the next time. With that being said, I want to, speaking of what we're expecting, our expectations and all of that, I want to share with you, I have a trip coming up. And, whenever we call forth a test, we never know really what the ancestors have planned. We just know that we're going to be tested because we're calling forth the test. We don't even know if it's, we don't know what it's going to turn out to be like. We don't know. But we're going to do the demonstration, and then we'll demonstrate all the way through. Because there's no stopping in us. So we have it planned to go on a trip, to visit our family, and actually to share the good news of nationality and all that we're doing. So in the interim, when I first thought about the trip, the ancestors said, I had some fear about the trip. And it was programming that was running, and I knew it. And the ancestors said, whatever it is that you have, whatever expectation you have for the trip, that's what's going to manifest. So I said, okay, well, let me prepare for full success. And they said, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. So we've been talking about the fiduciary money. I sent fiduciary money for the trip. I sent fiduciary money for the hotel and everything. So, I'm just going to demonstrate and do what we do, because you all know that, that's how we do things. So we're doing the study, and the ancestors had us to gather and put some documents together for the trip and send them ahead of us. So we have sent things ahead of us with regard to our fiduciary document on Moorish government letterhead. We sent copies of our state ID, which is our Moorish state driver's license, because I've shown you my Moorish state driver's license, and I also showed you my Moorish state, my sovereign security number card, and we made those cards ourselves. Because we're the government and we're the only ones who really can issue documentation to ourselves. So we have our travel card and we have our red ID card, but then we have state level things too. Our federal level Moorish ID cards is the ones that you've seen. It's red in all lowercase letters and in ancient English. That's our national ID. And then we have our state ID, and our state IDs are the states that where we put the constitutions on the public record and then began issuing IDs to ourselves. So I wanted to show you some of the documents that are not on Moorish government letterhead, but that it is our fiduciary duty to notify, because we have tracking numbers for all of this. And we want to just show you some of the things that we were inspired to do with regard to the travel that we have planned. And I sometimes, when we do things like this, we know that we're looking into the future. Okay, so not everyone will be able to travel like this right now, and I'll tell you, I'm doing the demonstration, and we're going to just, know what we know about us and our court actions, and that's what we'll be doing. But for some, this is in the future. Just to know that we have a plan and a strategy that we implement, so it shows competence from our perspective that we can govern flying and staying in hotels on our own vast estate without foreign or corporate interference. Okay, so that's why we do a lot of the demonstrations we do, is they're further ahead in the future. The system may not be quite ready for this right now. It may or may not, I don't know, but it's going to have to get ready. So what I did was I drew up some documents because, again, it's our fiduciary duty to minister the estate. And in ministering the estate, we went ahead because, for example, on the screen, it's American Airlines. American Airlines is bankrupt. So as our fiduciary duty, we just took over and we said, okay, we're going to issue our own ticket, our boarding pass, the bill of lading, the land bill of lading, and a flight manifest for us. And then put it through, okay, through our system, and then notify everyone, all of the custodians in the Office of American Airlines, the custodians in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, and really we kind of like just said, you all are resigned, okay. But what we did was we went online and we looked at the flights that were available, and then we crafted our own flight document, okay, and put some things in there about how we wanted to fly and all of that. And again, this is for the future. And then we have the constitutionally inferior courts agreement, and it's not their agreement, it is their witness. They are a witness. We don't contract with inferior courts. They just witness the things that we do. And then we sent this out to, let's see, and let me just tell you who all we sent it to. The previous custodians in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, the previous custodians at the hotel, and I'll show you the hotel booking as well. The previous custodians in the Office of American Airlines, the ports, the quote-unquote port, the previous custodians in the Office of Port Authority, Port of Seattle, the airports, the previous custodians in the Office of Airport Directors, we sent copies to them as well. The previous custodians in the Office of TSA, we sent them copies as well. So we're just notifying on both ends of where the travel is, and then notifying all in between that they are former custodians. If you can see right here on this document, former custodians for American Airlines, letting them know that this is what's going on. And then there's also the hotel booking, and we did the same thing, except here we issued fiduciary money, okay? Whenever we're going through these types of demonstrations, again, we know that, this is setting the process in place that we're going to use down the line. When we first introduced the lien process, it took a couple of years before that process really caught on and people could actually see that, yes, these liens really do work. In some cases, people saw right from the beginning because we knew from the beginning they were working. But it took some a little longer to know that, yes, the lien process does work, because we're training. We are training former custodians on our land. We're training them, and then we're also showing each other that we know our system, because the system ultimately belongs to us. So, and again, former custodian, we sent to not to the choice hotel we didn't send it to the one we're going to. We didn't send the payment to the one we're going to, the fiduciary money. We sent it actually to the quote unquote corporate office, is where that went, and then copies of it went to the one that we're going to. Okay. Then we said, okay, let's issue a fiduciary trustee document and put the former custodians, 3 former custodians, Joseph Biden, Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, former custodians, where our fiduciary trustee, authority is concerned. Our authority comes from us and not anyone else. But for some of the former custodians, as they look at these things come through, and they see these things, they see things that they recognize on here. And when I say recognize, it's not a matter of whether we're valid or not. It's whether they can see or not, whether they can recognize or not. It's a matter of competence on their level, from their perspective, not ours. We know we're competent, and we know we have absolutely the authority to do the things that we're doing. So again, we're setting the system, we're revealing our ancient system. Okay. And then here, Homeland Security, we issued another document with regard to our fiduciary duty and the law, because Homeland Security, this U.S. Department of Homeland Security, is bankrupt. So as the fiduciaries, we had to go ahead and we issued several different clearances. One of the clearances is a top secret clearance. The other is a top secret Q clearance. Q level clearance is the highest level clearance. Is super sensitive clearance. In other words, we can look at any information that comes across, because it's our information anyway, even to the point of nuclear weapons, how to make them, and all of that, which we won't need that, but we wanted access to look at all of that. So we issued a Q level security clearance for ourselves. It's our fiduciary duty. We have to do that. And then we also issued a security clearance, and this one is a spiritual one, so there's no writing here for it. And it's not necessarily that we needed it, because we don't need anything. We're God. But we wanted to show competence to ourselves first and foremost. And then also, again, we're revealing the ancient system. So the other security clearance is something called a D5 Majestic security clearance, D5 Majestic. And you may not see anything too much about that one on the internet, maybe. Since we're speaking it, it may come out more. But D5 Majestic is that's the security clearance where they start talking about, and I can share this with you because my spirit says it's okay to share. D5 Majestic has to do with those who know who we are. They also know that we are not earthly, so to speak. And when I say earthly, they know we're not human like that. They know we have the potential with given, once we create the circumstances that we can do interstellar travel, we can go to other planets, we can go to other places, we can materialize and dematerialize, we can, however we all of our godness is known by those who are D5 majestic level and above. Most of those that were previously doing business as quote unquote president, they already know about us. They know that when our bodies come in contact with certain monoatomic elements that we have, that our true abilities come forth. So so those security clearances, I issued those to myself, and you all have the authority to issue them to yourselves as well. And then I sent this to them, to the former custodians previously in the Office of Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. If you'll notice, this seal says U.S. Department of Homeland Security, but these blue words just say Homeland Security. Homeland Security is the Moors. U.S. Department of Homeland Security is the corporation that was previously the custodian of all of that information. But now we know the information. Here's another something. This is just the initial removal of this former custodian. Okay, whereas the other was the flight plans and things. And then because I'm going to Alabama, which is our Alabama, not the state of Alabama, okay, like this says right here, this is just removing, again, former custodian. This is what the transition looks like. Okay, this is what the transition looks like. It is, we quit them, and when I say quit them, just say thank you for your service. Service is no longer needed, and then we move forward. Okay, and we go ahead and take, because all titles belong to the Moors. Did the same thing because we're starting here at Washington, that we don't need a corporate anything overseeing anything. So we remove the corporates and former custodian, and then we take our rightful place and do what we know to do. Okay. And again, this is in preparation for me to go from this Washington, that we're the land of Washington, to the land of Alabama. We're not going to any corporate state of anything. We're on the land. So I also today sent copies of, and actually not copies, but originals, stamped and sealed and autographed, of the Alabama Constitution to the custodians formerly in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, so that it's clear that we know where we're going and that we're not in anybody's corporation. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, this is just another resignation here. Former custodian, because we will be carrying fiduciary money with us. And so acceptance of Federal Reserve notes, fiduciary currency, and this is just us saying, or this is us doing our fiduciary duty and resigning this one because we are the currency controllers. So we can print, we can regulate, and it says here, chartering, regulation, supervision, banking, financial associations, fiduciary trustee currency printed by the United States fiduciary trustee. And then this also went to the custodians previously in the Office of Department of Homeland Security, because in reality we're the original Homeland Security Department, or ministry rather. And then Port of Seattle, just one moment, just a moment, let me put that out of here so that we are not, you better type quick because you're out of here. Oh boy, that's so funny to me. Okay, so now the Port of Seattle, when I started doing my research to find out what custodians were previously there, we saw both the corporate and we saw the reepublic. So we just dealt with both of them, because in reality everything has to go through the Moors. And Moors, we have a system already in place that will assist with all of this. So these are former custodians from the Port of Seattle. And then we have another, someone who was doing business as the corporate executive director. And so we said, okay, let's go ahead and remove. And then we notified all of the former custodians that they're all removed. And then TSA, that is the Moors. And so we went ahead and notified as well, just so that everyone is aware that we are doing our job. And they all say it has been an honor to serve. And again, as fiduciaries, it's our duties and our responsibilities to marshal the resources and make sure that those resources are used in order to further the empire. So the trip that I'm taking is one where it doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to be talking about nationality, even when I go see my family. And some of you know the story of even at my father's homegoing celebration, the ancestors gave us the right words to say in order to introduce hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of people to their nationality and to who we really are. So anytime I have a platform, no matter if it's 2 people listening or 2 million people listening, we're still going to say the same thing. So with that being said, let me see. Another something that I wanted to bring up really quickly. I saw something, and I want to point this out to you, Moors. Did you all know that it is actually in the Biblioheliothek that it is a sin, and it is absolute, like God, the ones that they said that they called God, was not pleased and knew that there was something wrong in the earth when they saw us living as paupers and subjects and servants living way better. Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, verses 5 through 7, state that unequivocally. There's no question about who they're talking about and what they're saying. It says there's something else wrong that happens here on earth. It is the kind of mistake rulers make. Fools are given important positions while gifted people are given lower ones. It says, I have seen servants ride horses while princes walk like servants on foot. The whole earth knew that we were completely out of order. They knew. And everyone who says that they believe in the Bible knew too, because it's right there in the Bible that we were not. The whole earth knew that was wrong. And that's what and I'll go back to what we said in opening this congressional session, is that we're preparing to live the way we were supposed to live. And so that our heirs can manifest their creativity unencumbered by things like finance and food and transportation issues and things like that. The whole earth is ours, the heavens and the earth, and that is what we're manifesting. So we're actually looking in a completely opposite direction of anyone who's prepping and preparing to go underground. Because why would we go there? Why? No reason to. So with that being said, are there any questions or comments? I will go ahead and put the meeting in. Yes, it says they're now saying they are getting supersonic vibrational. Yes, Islam. And you can unmute yourselves, heirs. Islam nobility.
Yeah, this is kill and be easily
Mm-hmm.
I just want to congratulations to this year to the next step.
I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. This is Kadil.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kill. Can be easily from Philadelphia territory. I just wanted to congratulate you on with the documents for the next step.
Islam. Thank you, nobility. We can all congratulate each other. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You've been trying to manifest that building on First Avenue for a year and a half, Pauline. What's the problem?
Nothing that can stop us. Nothing, absolutely nothing, and no one that can stop us. No one that can stop us.
Islam.
Islam.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I've seen a couple of the different videos, kind of new to looking at your videos, even though I'm not new to nationality. My name is Raymond Melchizedek L.
Islam.
How's everybody doing?
All is well, nobility. Thank you. We're glad you're here.
All right. Couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
One is what videos of yours would I look at to be able to understand how to do the lean process and all of that?
There are several that you can look at, but the very first video that we put on YouTube is a lean video, and it's 5 hours, but and the rest of them are not that long, just so that you know. But look through the videos. We put it in the title, the lean process. It's in there. We took the time several different times to just break that process all the way down, because that's a process that our nation is going to use for many years to come. Okay? Yeah. As Moors wake up, they're going to be at different places in the matrix. And as they come out of the matrix, they will lean their way out, and then they'll be able to see the things that we see now, in terms of being able to do all that that we're doing.
And that's under your name, under Light Tahiri Bay.
That is my appellation, Light Tahiri Bay at YouTube. Islam.
Okay. And then the second question is, I notice a lot of your paperwork and all of your proclamations and different notices that you use, they stamped by the court or superior court of that area. I forgot, Washington something or something like that.
King County.
How? Okay. How are you getting those stamped like that?
So at all of the county level courts, okay, and I'm calling them county level courts according to the Constitution. At all of those courts, now we had to lien them first before the ancestors showed us this part. We had to lien the corporate covering off of them. And when we did that, the ancestors said, now, okay, it's okay now to go in there. And everywhere, so you know how landlords, the ones that were previously doing business as landlords, they would make up lease documents at home, and then they would take them to the quote unquote county court, and they have all of those places have a counter that you can walk up to this counter, and they have stamps sitting out on the counter that anyone can come and stamp documents. People who are on probation will sometimes have to go to this counter and voluntarily stamp their stuff saying, we are going to pay this much per month. And, volunteering to be enslaved,
Right.
Well, the stamp is a judge's stamp. So they don't realize that they're really the judge and not the other ones. See, the people are the government, not the other way around.
All right, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if you I'm in Virginia territory, so I've been to all of course, the superior court buildings, the lower court buildings, stuff like that, but I've never seen that stamp. So if they didn't have it out, would it be something that I would need to ask for?
You can, if you feel led to do that. You can ask and see where is it that landlords go to get their documents stamped.
Okay.
Because in reality, you're the landlord.
Okay.
And that's one of those things that landlords have been pulling on the heirs while we were asleep, is we thought that they went and actually spoke to a quote-unquote judge that said put them out, when that's not what happened. They just went and got, they would go and draw up something at home and take it and stamp it. And guess what? Every document that's stamped that way, the quote-unquote sheriff has to enforce it. So if we take our documents and say custodians formerly in the office of sheriff, which we don't use them, I do all my own enforcement, because I've not,
So basically, they once it's stamped, then now, like you said, they have to honor it as far as they have to give it the full faith and credit of whatever. Well,
they don't listen. They have to do that whether it's stamped or not. Now let's get that clear. If we put it on a piece of toilet paper, it has to be honored.
Right.
But for the sake of processes that we put in place, because the Moors, we've always put orderly processes in place on the land, because we didn't want chaos on the land. So for that process, those processes, yes, anything that is stamped, then the whoever it is that is in the office of sheriff, and in our case it's us, that whoever is in that office enforces the documents that we put forth.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Moors, you all can use those stamps too, and it would have to be enforced by the custodians. Let's see, let me make sure I say this correctly, because we don't want to use corporate people doing business as sheriffs. But it would make it so that the sheriff, that office that you put in place, will have to enforce what you put out there. too.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I may have to ask you some more questions, but I
Sure.
noticed a lot of your documents. I've seen all of I downloaded, I think it's like a packet of different documents that you had from the fiduciary perspective. Oh, and this is the last thing. When you say fiduciary money versus delarium, what is the fiduciary money? Am I missing something on that, or?
Yes, you might be. You might be. So delarium is our national currency, and delarium is gold backed, and not only is it gold backed, but it is the money that we use when we're doing commerce or merchant actions with natural resources. Anything that we do with natural resources, like we do sea salt and natural sea minerals, then we only accept delarium for that. Now, the fiduciary money, I'm glad you asked, because I actually need to show you all something with regard to that today. But the fiduciary money is where those who are the debtors don't have the money to pay. So we actually had to create a way for them to pay. And we had to create a way that we would be able to use the systems that are in place to get the things we need. So what did we do? We said, okay, what we're going to do is we studied currency, we studied money, and then we studied fiat. We studied fiat. Because there's a difference between money and fiat. We know the difference between money and fiat. Fiduciary money is where we have to create money that our systems that were incorporated by thieves would recognize. It's our system. Every ATM machine, every machine at the grocery store, all of that comes from our estate. So we said, okay, we need to create something, but it has to be printed and created by us in order for it to be valid. Because if it's created by them, it's not valid. So the ancestor said, just one moment. There's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere.
All right, thank you.
Okay. It might be your line. There may be somebody talking behind your line there.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So what we did was the ancestor said, look at U.S. trademark and patent laws and see also. So we studied a bunch of different things, and come to find out, debt is the counterfeit to credit. Credit is the counterfeit to debt. And when we say counterfeit, those are two separate words. They're not together. So the ancestor said you need to counter or rebut the fiat. So then we looked at U.S. trademark and patent, since that's because, see, we leaned that office, so all of the resources there belong to us, but we have to make them uncorrupt. So we don't use fiat the way it is. What we do is we take an image of the fiat, and then we take that image and copy and paste it onto a document, a Word document or a blank document. And then we print that out, and then we destroy the fiat that was created by the foreigners. And that's your fiduciary money. There are no trademark or patents on fiat. That's number one. So but even if it was, we have that too, because we lean the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office. And then again, they cannot pay us what they owe. So we must create a way. But we can't use their fake fiat. So we're not going to use it. We're burning the fiat. which is going to mess with the programming, but that's okay because we're up for that. And then we create our own, and we say, okay, now we will give you this, because as fiduciaries, according to federal laws for bankruptcy procedure, the fiduciaries have the right to create remedy however from whatever resources on their land. So the fiduciary money looks exactly like fiat, except it's not fiat. So what we're doing is taking the debt out of circulation and then putting an instrument in circulation that we created. So that's what fiduciary money is. And yeah, go ahead, Empress. Wait 1 minute, Empress. Go ahead, Nobility. I want to make sure he's done.
Yeah, I never saw a copy of what that looked like. I think it's like I'm kind of locked out of it kicked me out of the meeting, so I can still hear you, but it won't show me any of your visual. So I didn't know if you put that up so I can see it. I had planned on putting it up anyway. I am going to put it up. In fact, let me run and grab what I needed to grab because I was going to do a demonstration tonight on this call right now that I needed to do anyway. But go ahead, Empress.
Islam. Oh, I just wanted to share a quick testimony about how yesterday I went to Chipotle, and they said that they were not accepting any cash because they had no fiat to give change for. They were only accepting cards. Only if you had exact change could you give fiat. And I was like, they have no fiat to give change? And then I was like, duh, because their fiat sources are depleting and depleted. So that just is another proof of evidence that they're over Islam.
Yes, Empress, it's a wrap on all of that. It's a wrap on the fiat piece. We can this is what fiduciary money looks like. I'm not sure if you can see, but it looks just like fiat. Okay.
Because
now
it won't let me join back in.
Oh, it won't?
I can hear you, but it won't let me get back into the meeting.
Okay. Well, I'll show it, and then yeah, I'll show it. I'll show it on the screen, and then what you can do is let's see. Yeah, I'll show it on the screen so that you can see it, because I need to do the rest of that demonstration. So I'm gonna have to.
What's going on with that Range Rover, Pauline? Why hasn't that manifested? You had that $100,000 Range Rover. Where's that?
Process. Just 1 moment. Okay. So let me make sure that you all can see me. Okay. Let me tell you something, y'all. This is what I love about all of this. They know that we got this thing wrapped up. We got it wrapped up. And any little doubt that they can plant, if you listen to that, don't listen to it. Because they keep changing what they're saying. And they're not talking to us anyway, but the ones that come into the meetings, they keep changing what they're saying. At one time they were saying, oh, your clients got whacked. They stopped that noise real quick. Now they're coming up with other stuff. How come you don't have this yet? And all of that. So anyway, this is the, can you all see on the screen? This is the original that I made these from, okay? This is the original. Now, some may disagree with what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because the ancestors have made it clear to me that if I just get something started, that they will do whatever else needs to be done in order to manifest our intention. And so I'm going to take this original, well, we're right here, and I am going to Huh?
Are you going to burn it?
I am.
Islam.
I am. You know why? I need to fix, to make sure my programming is okay too. While we're going through these things, I'm being raised and risen to my sovereign power just like all of us are. And I want to be sure that while I'm doing, in fact, let me just, yeah, okay. Okay. So, I am working through the programming as well for myself, and I can sense in my spirit that once I do this, okay, that it's going to set some things in motion that need to be set in motion with regard to our vast estate, this land, and everything that has to do with us. So I wanted to share it with you all while I do it, just because it is the beginning. It's the beginning of something that needed to happen on our land a long time ago, really. And we have been talking, getting rid of this stuff on this land for a long time. Just one moment. There is, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but also, like, you feel like they catch.
Just one moment. Okay. So can you all hear me? I just want to be sure you can hear me because there was some noise coming from somewhere. Yep. Okay. So these are the ones that I made those are the serial numbers. These are the actual fiat notes that I made my fiduciary money with. And I want to take this debt, because this is debt. I want to take this debt out of circulation because I'm going to take my fiduciary money with me. Can you all see what I'm doing here?
Yep.
Okay. Everyone can, yeah, they can, it's showing. Okay.
Clear.
Okay. So I want to take this debt, because this is debt. This is not real money. And I want to take it out of circulation. And this is also a ritual and a ceremony and a celebration for us because we know we can. And so I'm going to go ahead and light these on fire as we celebrate the removal of debt from our land, because our suffering goes away when we do this. So I am going to do it. Because I had some, there was some programming in my mind about it, but I knew I was going to get past the programming because I'm like,
Islam, Ashe.
Yes, Islam. Slavery goes away. Our heirs don't have to do without. We don't have to do without. We're honoring our ancestors when we get the debt out of circulation. We must get the debt out of circulation. It has to leave. And in the interim, but see, we couldn't do that until we provided a remedy for it. And we have the remedy. It's our own creation. So this is the first time in my since I've been in this manifestation that I've ever done anything like that. In terms of physically just like lighting it on fire. But you know what? I have seen other people in other places do it. You've seen videos. If you go out on YouTube and you see, and you put in money to burn, you'll see people burning, but they're always burning that. They're never burning any other type. And I'm like, they know something that we don't know then, obviously, or something that we did not know previously or thought we didn't know. So thank you for sharing this moment with me. I have never done anything like that before, but I'm actually, now that it's done, I'm actually looking forward to doing it some more, which means I have to create some more fiduciary money. And as you get Justice Raymond, everyone else can see. Is there anyone else who can't see? If you're looking at it, can you see? Yeah, I think everyone can see. So the more we do this, Islam.
I'm sorry, Raymond Bell here. What I was trying to say was my video was disabled when I made the comment that I couldn't see what was going on. Okay. So I just realized that it was disabled, and so I enabled it. Now I see your fireplace and you, so yes. I didn't see what happened.
Islam. It just burned like it was supposed to.
Islam, I was getting ready to say that, Empress. I was literally thinking that exactly as you said it. About how fast that energy went gone. Like, yeah. It was like without a trace, done.
Yeah. Yes. Can you imagine what our ancestors must be saying and doing in the spirit realm, though? That's the part I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about
rising.
Yes. Think about what our parents went through for that. And look how fast it burned. And we can create as much as we want of our own. It has to be our creation, not theirs.
Right. I agree.
Islam.
So,
Wow.
Yes. And you know what? Here's the thing.
My heart.
Yes, Empress.
This is exciting.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Islam. Our heirs don't have to do without. So I was just thinking, I'm looking forward to doing that again, by the way. So I guess I would have to create some more credit so that I can start doing that more often. But I'll tell you that even, as I was leading up to doing this demonstration, that programming was fighting so hard. Just one moment. There's a little bit of an echo coming from somewhere. The programming was fighting, so I could feel it. It was almost, let me just describe it to you. It was almost a physical pulling of don't do that, don't do that. And that's how I knew I needed to do it. Because physically I could feel something say, don't do that. What if you need it? What if you need it? No, we're not doing that. No, because see, we know that's the wrong kind of language in the first place. The gods don't need anything but each other, period. So I knew that was programming speaking. So, Moors, we got this. We got this. It's a wrap. And one thing that I will say about this too, I had a little bit of reservation. I had a little bit. Now it's not there anymore. Just with this demonstration, I had a little bit of a reservation taking my fiduciary money on this trip, because we know how things, you know, how they used to do, and they used to show us in movies where someone would go through the airport with this big wad of money and they would get in trouble for having a big wad of money, or what we thought was money. Well, now that I've done this on the public record, I'm not worried. That programming went away, because it's on the public record that what I'm carrying is not theirs. It's ours. It's public money, not their private military script.
Islam, it's the people's money.
It is, and it is. Why? Because the people make it. And that's really how this was supposed to be in the first place. This is how this was supposed to work in the first place. So now I'm looking forward to the other demonstrations. I can get whatever I need in terms of ink. I can get the supplies, and whatever else we need, we can get it now. All we have to do is do the demonstration and then do a letter from the president and the former custodian in the office of president, saying that you're the fiduciary trustee and you're here to liquidate. And then when you're here to liquidate, it's not going to mess their tills up, because you don't want to mess up the register, right? So it's not going to mess their register up, because they'll be able to see. Justice Akil, I see that. Justice Akil said that someone, and I won't mention his appellation, but he didn't know that he wasn't black either, because in all his interviews that we saw on television, he used to say he was black, a black man this and a black man that. And I know that's why they felt like they needed to get rid of him. Anybody who's been talking about any type of freedom, when you say that you're black, you just put a target on your head. Because blacks cannot own anything. They don't have any rights and none of that. And we're not black. We are the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. And that's what we're proving. That stuff was pretending to be commerce when it's not commerce. So, because it wasn't produced by the people, it was produced by a corpse. So, you know, I'm excited for us, and I'm looking forward to all that the ancestors have for us, and I'm ready to do my demonstration too. I know that the demonstration is, you know, I know how the ancestors work. I'm learning even more every day about how they operate. Where when they show us something, sometimes it's they show it to us now, and then they want us to perfect it so that we can use it, and no one have to worry about a POW demonstration or anything like that. And most of us don't have to worry about that anyway. There's some of us who jump right on ahead because we're not worried about it. You know, I'm one of those that I'll demonstrate and not even worry about a POW demonstration, because I ain't gonna do nothing but a court action anyway. Period. No second to. I see that. Luke 9:3. That's good. It depends on where you are on the timeline also, because there will come a time when we won't need to do any of that. And some days come when we don't need to do that. Like when we go out to do grounding, we don't need to take any of that stuff. We just go, we don't even wear shoes. We just go out and go ground. My journey and part of my spell casting and spell breaking had everything to do with the FIAT piece. I specifically came here to deal with that piece because that piece it was so strong for our people. You know, the FIAT piece, I mean, you could get some of the toughest Moors who really knew the law, and that's the only place where they where they said, I can't go any further because I got to have something, And, for us, we came here to break that spell specifically. Islam, Empress.
Islam. And so I shared that scripture is because he was breaking the programming.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he put that energy out there, and then you go, you
Mm-hmm.
go and follow the energy that you're putting out there, and make it manifest. But you can't do it if you wouldn't have burnt that 100. You can't do it unless you burn it, and put that energy out there and break that programming. Islam. That's what the scripture is for.
Yes. Empress, we stated about a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago that we were going to, that at some point, and when I said it knowing in my spirit that it was going to manifest. I just didn't know how it was going to manifest, but I knew it had to come, because we said it was going to have to happen through us. But we said we were going to burn the FIAT. We said we were going to burn it at some point. And today is as good a day as any, if you ask me. Because I think about, like what Justice Akil put in there about the sovereign who didn't know he was a Moor, who was arrested for carrying large sums of money. That one that he put in the chat had answers to a lot of stuff with us health-wise. But they actually got rid of him, if you ask me. They get rid of a lot of the Moors who have the answers. They're divinely inspired, but they think they're black, and they go on public record saying, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. And if they keep doing that, then the answers cannot continue to come through them. And that's why it's so important for us to know that we're Moors, we're not black. So that as the ancestors give us, because blacks cannot do that without fear of jail or whatever. Blacks cannot do that. And that's another reason why we say, make sure that you've terminated all corporate contracts and things like that as we move through these next, this is like, we already know that there are one or two spells that once those one or two spells are broken, which they are, that everything else is a given. It's a piece of cake for our nation and for our people, And to me, that was it. Because, people are strong, strong, strong until it comes to that sometimes, So, yeah.
It's our biggest stronghold.
It was previously. I'm gonna put that in the past tense. Just because of this, I know how powerful you are as a spell caster and spell breaker, matriarch. Yeah.
It was one of our biggest strongholds.
But we pull down strongholds. That's scriptural. We pull them down. Let's pull them down. I got goosebumps just thinking now about when is the next time I can switch some more of that out. Because that's all we're going to be doing is switching out. Hand somebody a fiduciary currency of 100 for something that costs 75 cents. So you can pull all that fiat and just burn that and create some more credit. I'm ready for that. So, nobody can mistake what we have for fiat, because it's not fiat. That's what I love about this. Islam nobility.
One of the notes, how many times can we print it?
A trillion.
Okay, Islam.
And my thing is, once I made 1 or 2 copies and put it out there, I can get rid of that one. I can get rid of the fake and keep dealing with the real money.
Islam.
And repeat. The same way they did the stock market. They would take one mortgage contract and create 1,000 derivatives from it. They got that from us, being able to do what we're doing now. So, yeah.
Islam,
Empress.
Yes, part of me, I sort of hesitate to share this, but I won't share the name, because it's a name. This particular person put out an article this week. They were an attorney, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they said that the people of Africa have been freed.
Yes.
I know that they were our enemy,
yes.
but don't be afraid. So it is being recognized that those of us of that heritage has been freed.
Yes.
It's not only us who knows that. We know that ourselves first, but they are recognizing that too and telling their own, this is done.
Yes.
Islam, I yield.
Yes. And it's because we speak peace on the public record. And not only are we speaking peace, we're demonstrating peace. We're not angry at them. We know they had to do what they did because we said do this and do this and do this. They were just doing their job. That's all. And we're doing ours, They watch everything that we do. That's another reason why I say don't believe the numbers. Don't believe them, because they all can see what we're doing, all of them. I can feel them in my spirit watching. That's how I know they're there. Yes, we're free. Permanently, forever. And we will never go back. Never go back, ever. And that's why I said what I said, too, about at the beginning of the call. Prepare for the wealth. Prepare for abundance. Cups overflowing to where you don't even have room enough to receive all that's coming. It's really already here. Prepare for it. Strategize on what you're going to do with 30 buildings. Strategize with what you're going to do with whatever it is that you see for yourself. Because you're going to have it over and over and over and over and over. Everything that you lost or that you thought you lost, domiciles, conveyances, all of that, you're going to get it back 70 times 7 and 70 more. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, the ancestors gave me a glimpse into that not too long, and every now and then they'll give me a glimpse into it where I literally feel and know that there are multiple of anything that I could ever see myself with in terms of, properties or whatever. And they said, get ready for that because it's really already here. Get ready for it. And don't let anything, and they know nothing stops us. They know that. They know we're set, Nothing stops us, and, because our heirs are worth it. We're worth it, I mean, look at what all we've been through, Moors. We deserve this. Yep, we do. So, they keep, every now and then I get a glimpse into where we're going. And it's indescribable almost. It's indescribable almost. And things like FIAT and things like that are going to be, we're going to wonder why we even worried. I'm wondering that now, but that's only because the ancestors keep, every now and then they pull back the curtain and say, look. And I know they're doing that with you all too, because, they deal with all of us pretty much the same from one moment to the next, so I'm excited for us. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, demonstrations? Did I tell you all about, I think I may have told you about the energy that is on some of the policy enforcers?
No, I haven't heard it.
I didn't tell you. Okay. So this is for those who've been doing demonstrations where you did a demonstration and policy enforcers came and all of a sudden you felt fear that was not there before. I was in this grocery store probably about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks to a month, something like that. And I just happened to go down an aisle, and then a policy enforcer came in behind me, and he was on the same aisle, just I guess looking at whatever he was looking at, whatever he was, he pulled something off the aisle. But and I wasn't worried about it because I don't, I know who I am, and the spirits know. So I went on about my business through the store, but as I left and was going on about my business, a fear started to creep up on me. I could feel it coming. I could even see it from a long way off coming. It was strange because I was like, where did that come from? The ancestors told me then that policy enforcers have an energy, and it's either in their gear that they wear, or it's in their spirit. It's a fear energy that, like, I'm not afraid of policy enforcers. I'm not. So I was wondering, where was that fear coming from? It got stronger and stronger as I walked through the store. And I was like, it was just weird because my thoughts were not on fear. So I knew that it was some programming or something, or either the ancestors wanted to show me something. And sure enough, the ancestors pointed to the thought, the feeling, because the feeling didn't match my thoughts. Because in my thought process, I was not afraid at all. I didn't even think twice about him being there. It's only after I felt that energy that I said, where in the world is this coming from? I'm just walking through the store. But the ancestors told me that there's something either in their clothing or their energy that causes that fear to come upon us when we're dealing with them, or when we see them going down the street, you know, and they're going one way and we're going another way. Everybody's just going about their way. But there's something in our energy and in the programming that was put there. So the ancestors are telling me to notice it so that I know how to deal with it. And once they pointed out that the feelings didn't match my spirit, because my spirit wasn't scared, my mind wasn't scared, it was a feeling that I felt in, you know, physically. And the ancestors said, okay, now just do a little energy work and it'll go away. So I stood in the store, in the aisle for just about maybe 5 seconds. I closed my eyes and did the energy work of seeing that energy leave. And it was like it never happened. But the ancestors told me that there's something in either their clothing or a directed energy weapon, because some may have heard of directed energy weapons or something. And to me, it's not a weapon. It's just, you know, I know that it's a part of the psychological operations that we talk about simply because I was having this conversation with one of the empresses the other day. We know that it's psychological operations because how can there be so many of us who did absolutely nothing when they were shooting people down in the street? We still just sat at home. We were under a spell or either some energy, or we thought we were under a spell. We could assented to it or something. I don't know. But I just know that no one has the authority to do that without our permission. But the energy went away very quickly, so I know the ancestors are preparing me to they've been preparing me in terms of energy, dealing with energies. And so energetically, not that there's going to be any face-to-face confrontations of any kind like that, because we don't do that. We're not at war on our land. But energetically, just dealing with the energies. We know that people cast spells. We know that of all the spells, policy enforcers and fake fiat are the two spells that just really, you know, we as a people, we had to break those spells. We really had to break those spells. And where we're going, you know, in this grand rising, those spells cannot come with us. Those energies cannot come with us where we're going. They don't even belong. And they won't come with us. That's the thing. So it behooves us to go ahead and work through those energies so that we don't have to have them tested out of us, you know. So I just wanted to put that forth. It's nothing to be afraid of, because we're more powerful than any energies. We just have to make sure we're doing the energy work. And the energy work is just a matter of us close our eyes, think, energy be gone, and then the energy is gone. You know. So I just wanted to bring that forth because it was just such a weird experience, but it answered the question for me that I had briefly with the ancestors. They're actually getting rid of the rest of the programming from the question I asked them in the beginning. The question that I asked them in 2017 when I first woke up was, how do we get past them? Fake judges and fake policy enforcers. Because that's some programming right there that we needed to get past. Well, they've shown us how to get past that. Now that little bit of something there was just the fear that comes with them. That's something that, you know, I was just wondering if they know that that's coming off of them, which I'm sure they do. Because it's a mechanism by which to control people who otherwise they wouldn't be able to control. You know, so I know they know that that's coming off of them, that there's an energy coming that comes with them that is almost disabling to people if you don't know what you're looking at and dealing with. But it won't disable the heirs, and that's the thing about where we are now. We've crossed over. We've crossed over. So it's already done. It's a wrap. And that's why now all of that talk about defunding and all of that stuff, they can't even come where we're going. They're not going to be able to be on this land with all of that abundance and all of that. There'll be no need, you know. But the ancestors wanted to point out for me the last little vestiges that were there and wanted me to get rid of them because we need to, because those energies can't come with us, you know. This is a new era. This is our time. Islam Empress.
Well, it just dawned on me that you needed to have that realization before you traveled out of your piece of comfort of your estate and traveled abroad to the other country of Alabama, because that is another country over there. And so that part. And then also the energy is created from the four-walled buildings of the court where the summons were being created, and their whole, you know, summoning. They were summoning a spell. Remember when they issued tickets and all those different things, and the judges and wearing the robes and all those different things. That's where the energy was coming from, because they don't have any authority to do anything other than those buildings that they were doing the trafficking and the kidnapping and all those other things. That's where it comes from, because they get their uniforms from there. They would get their corporate authorities from those quote unquote fictitious magistrates to go out and cast those nets to bring them those bodies into their chambers and do those rituals. So those policy forces are nothing but an extension of those rituals. They were like the Walking Dead zombies doing the bidding of, you know, the ones behind the robes.
You know, Empress, you know, the thing that fixed the programming with regard to that is me printing out the Alabama Constitution and sending it to the former custodians that were previously in the Office of Homeland Security, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Because now I know where I'm going, and I know they can't come.
Yep.
And same thing with the Constitution for Washington. I've printed that out, and we've placed that one on the public record, and we, you know, I want to get the link to the constitutions also, Morris, while we're here, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I posted it on social media today. It was the link to all of the constitutions, because someone had asked about that recently.
Islam.
So
it just hit me. Should we send you our termination of resignation letters also that we do for, like, because I know I've done for Schenectady, for the wannabe mayors of those locations and such. Should we send you those as well?
No, you don't have to send them. Put them on the public record, and then if we need to see them, you'll be able to point to where they are.
Islam, okay.
Here, so let me click on this and grab the these constitutions from Google Drive. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to get it off of here. Let's see. I probably need to grab my. Okay. I want to put the link in here. Okay, so it's not wanting to give that link to me, but I'm going to get it anyways. Just one moment. Just one moment. Let me get that for you. There it is. Meets and bounds. Just one moment. Get the link. And this has the majority of the constitutions that I received, but it may not have exactly all of them. Like the most recent ones, it probably won't have the most recent ones that I got in my email. So if you notice one that it has that's not there, or if you know you sent one that's not there, let me know and I'll go back through my email and pull it. Okay, so there it is in the chat. The link to the constitutions so far that we've received. And before you go travel anywhere more, as we're manifesting the travel piece, using our fiduciary money, make sure that you put the constitutions, and there's actually one other constitution that I need to send to them, to the custodians previously in the Office of Homeland Security. And that's, I have a stopover at Dallas, Texas territory. And so I'm going to send the Texas Constitution also. So with that being said, fiat has no place at ancient Morocco. I mean, think about the realness of everything that's on our land. Real gold, real silver, real land, real beings, not fictions, real beings, natural people and natural persons, you know, that we use as tools. Fiat has no place on our land, so it's up to us to switch it out. Switch it out. So before you do any demonstrations with your fiduciary money, make sure you have done the thing of burning the old, so that there are not two instruments pretending to be the real one, because that other stuff was pretending to be a real instrument when it's not. So are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, or anything of that nature? Thank you for being here.
Islam.
Islam.
The travel documents
Mm-hmm.
that you had done earlier, now they're on your Facebook, but if you click on them, it says access denied. I don't know if that's my end or because I've never had any access denied with Google.
Okay. You know, Empress, whenever something like that happens, just take a deep breath, clear your energy. And I'm not saying that your energy is not clear. I'm saying sometimes we actually have to, and I have to do it all the time myself, is just take a deep breath, clear. And when I clear, it works. Whatever it was I was trying to do before works. And see, I don't even know who put this on restricted. It was on anyone with the link can see it. Try now, Empress, and see.
All right, hold on. Where am I now?
It should work. I always put it on having it so that everyone can see what's there.
Bada bing, boom boom. Here
There it is. And I'm putting the link to those documents in the chat also for those who want to see those documents. I believe Justice Sharif, you were asking about those documents also. So you can take a look at them there and then recreate them for yourselves. You know, for whatever it is that you're doing. What we're doing now also, Morris, is letting our systems know what's coming. That's really what this demonstration is all about, is letting our systems know what's coming. Now, something very important that the ancestors wanted me to bring up is more prepare not just for our wealth, but for that other thing to close down. And it's going to close down at our word. Okay? Our word, in order to make everything else close down, and this might scare some because of the programming, but it won't be a bad thing because we have remedy. But I'm just saying, in the event that we want to expedite and go ahead and start and do what needs to be done, at some point or at any point, we can say on the public record that everyone is resigned, and not just resigned, but removed, and that we will do everything ourselves on the land, because that's that's what all of this is about. Is we don't need corporates running things for us when we can run them ourselves. We know how to run the land. We know how to get we know what entities or parts of the system to speak to when we want to travel, because we know all of the inner workings and the mechanisms. We know the banking mechanisms. We know the money mechanisms. We know the natural resource mechanisms. In other words, if we want to do something, or when we want to do something, do we know all of the moving parts of that process in order to make whatever it is manifest? Okay? So that is Islam, Justice Morpheus. I'm going to look that, I'll look those up and put them in that same folder. Okay? And that's really where we are right now, is making sure that when we want to access some benefit on our estate, can we access that benefit and not miss any of the parts? You know, we know that when we travel, we access the Homeland Security piece and speak to that piece so that that piece will do as commanded. We also know that we speak to the airport and the airlines and the, who else? Oh, the TSA and all of that. We speak to those parts on our vast estate, and then we access, and then we move forth and access. We tell it what to do, we regulate it, and then we move. So that's what we're doing right now. Whether now is a good time for me to take that trip and demonstrate my status or not, I'm not going to worry about that, because to me, now is as good a time as any. So, because they're supposed to know what to do, and we know what to do. We've already done it. We spoke to everyone. So as you look at the processes that you're doing and the parts of the estate that you want to access, just ensure that you look at all the steps for that and then just speak to those parts. That's how all of this is done. And when we speak to all of the parts, see, what has happened in the past is the parts that we didn't speak to wanted us to know they were there. Those parts were there. So, for example, when we wanted to demonstrate moorishe tags on our conveyances, let's go back to that, because we've perfected that process at this point. But back then, we didn't know, back in 2017, we didn't know that we needed to speak to the insurance part of our estate, that we needed to speak to the DMV part of the estate, the clerk, county clerk part of our estate, the commercial part of our estate. We needed to speak to all of those parts in order to effectively demonstrate the right to travel. And that's what all of this is about, is if we miss a part that we're supposed to speak to, that part is going to step forward. And generally when they step forward, it's, you know, it's something we weren't expecting because we thought we got everything, right? That's in the past. But now we see all of the inner workings of the vast estate. So as you're considering your next demonstration, do a study on the moving parts, and then just send an affidavit that addresses that part. For example, even with the right to travel, it was a good idea for us to look at the codes and statutes where insurance was concerned, or the codes and statutes where, you know, just look at them so that if there's anything we need to speak to in there, we could speak to it. And that's what all of this is all about. The test with policy enforcers and fake jails and all of that was just something that says, look at this because in your demonstration you didn't look at this part, or this part needs to be perfected. When we did our POW demonstration, our court actions were being perfected and added to. All rise and stand came in on that last POW demonstration, you know. And there are some Moors who are dealing with the court, the inferior courts, so that they perfect their inferior court action so that they can elevate it to a level that is ready for the Moors. Because the Moors, you know, our jurisdiction is the highest jurisdiction, you know. So keep those things in mind as you're preparing your demonstrations, and just, you know, be as competent in terms of speaking to every part of your estate, because our estate is vast. It's vast, and there's so much that's available to us that regulating it is going to be important. That's what we're learning, not learning, but remembering in our erudition, is how to continue to regulate what goes on our vast estate. So with that being said, we're just trying to, and we're not trying, we're actually doing it, covering all bases. Where travel is concerned, we have to address the money part. And when I say money, we know we are the only ones with real money. We have to address homeland security because we're homeland security and we must be secure at all times on our homeland. So we have to speak to that part. We have to speak to, the part of our estate that is airports and airlines and things of that. Islam, Empress.
I don't know if you're going to need to, quote unquote, access a vehicle or a conveyance while you're out there. Did you cover that piece yet?
I did not. I thought about it, but I'm not going to be there long enough to do that. And I have so many that that can assist with that while I'm out there that I just didn't think about it, but I probably should have. I probably could. I still have time because the trip is not for another 2.5 weeks.
All right.
Yeah. So, I could look at that. I thought about it, but I said, let me make sure I cover all my bases on the flight and the hotel first. And then, and then I'll add something to it if I have time to add anything to it. And every day that goes by, the ancestors seem like they're having me look at more and more things with regard to that. So we're just listening, and whatever, we're open to whatever it is that they say. We know that what they're giving us is in its, it's in a particular part of the stage of the whole precept. Empress Shatali has information on Moore's tags. Empress Rose. So you might be able to speak with Empress Shatali about that. With that being said, I meant to bring up the employment piece because we still have not talked about that piece. But one of the Moors put out a really good video on that piece about how we can go to the next steps of our CEO responsibilities and things. And so we will talk about that next time. It slipped. I didn't think about it this time, but we need to discuss what he showed, what the Moor showed about. In fact, I would like to put that video in the chat so maybe we can look at it and then discuss it the next time we meet. And that way you can look at it beforehand. I don't think it's that long of a video. I'm going to have to look back and see. Empress Chitali, can you find that video of that Moor? He did a great job on that one video. And I would have to go back and look and see where that video is, because
what was the video?
It was the one that he did about the jobs, about remember?
Yeah.
About how we can separate ourselves in the documentation and the paperwork, so that we can pay ourselves the way that we need to pay ourselves during this transition. Let me see if I can find it too.
Islam, because every one of us on this conference call is doing government work.
Is doing what, Empress?
government work.
Oh,
Every
yes,
one of us.
Yes, yes, yes. And what this brother put forth, there it is in the chat, I believe. Let me see, Ember Shatali. This copy. Let me see, maybe if I can put it on the screen, because this brother did a great job on that particular. Yeah, this is it. This is it. The Illinois Wage Payment and Collection Act. You need to hear that, because now that we have our own money and we can pay ourselves, we can literally go into the buildings and work and be paid for the work that we do, but we have to pay ourselves because we're paying ourselves in lawful money. And this video that this brother did pointed out how we do that, which to me was just timely. Our ancestors know exactly what they're doing. Thank you, Empress Shatali. That's a beautiful video, because when we put what he's talking about there with everything that we're doing, we can start working right now, really, and not start working, because we've been working the whole time, like you said, Empress. We've been doing the work. We just need to figure out how to pay ourselves instead of having to go to foreign. You know, we're not going back. You know, and then as we pay ourselves, we're just doing everything in honor, because when the ancestors. You know, even as I was watching that video, we know that even though it says Illinois, and this is the beauty of it, it does not say state of Illinois, it says Illinois.
Islam.
So we can take what's in the video and make it uncorruptible so that we can use it as a nation. Go ahead, Nobility.
Yeah. Well, since you have already watched it, do you think he's also explaining how you can, once you pay yourself, you can spend it out in circulation?
Yes, yes, because, well, the credit system, we have really already taken the credit system, but that whole banking system is waiting for us to just do this part right here. And then, listen, Nobility, we're going to continue to remove. Did you know that at any time we could put together the documentation to remove everybody from any bank, and then we go in and start using the instruments?
I was waiting to hear that part.
Yeah.
Because the demonstration I've already done is essentially leading to that point in that part.
Yes. But the only reason that I have not put any emphasis on that is because I don't want anybody to go out of anger or the wrong energy and get themselves into any situations. That's something that we do, level-headed, thinking clearly, and working by the Spirit, and letting the Spirit lead us in that, because it's not supposed to be a war energy. We actually have to do things the right way, and some will we know some will move forward, if they're thinking resources, and the ancestors want us to be wise as we move forward. They want us to be wise and peaceful, and it will be to the point where there's no resistance to what we're doing. And that's the only reason I haven't said anything about that sooner, is because I know what we have the authority to do, but I am not going to rush out there. I'm going to wait for the ancestors to give us the information and the steps like they've been doing. They've been giving us everything we need to stay safe, to stay free, and to prosper. And I want that to continue. Yes, Justice Malik, Chapter 3 of the Act of Algeciras. We actually have to put that whole act into law. Now, Justice Malik, the more that I consult with, because he's banking superior when it comes to that whole system. There's nothing about the system he doesn't know. He is an avid studier, and he's been looking at the Act of Algeciras only for like the last 4 months. Act of Algeciras only, because it's so thorough and complete that all we have to do is elevate it and make it the law, and everything else is there already. And then you put that with the money, and put the money with the Illinois Act that we just showed. What did he say? What did that guy say? The Illinois Wage Payment and Collection Act. When you put all of that together, we actually have everything we need in order to economically prosper. Economically, we can pay ourselves. And the ancestors are already showing us how to access the banks and things like that. We know how to do it, but I'm not going to, I don't feel comfortable jumping out there in front of the ancestral energies. We know that they show us things that are further in the future. We know that. And so we want to make sure that as we move forward, that number one, we don't leave anybody behind. And number two, that as we move forward, that energetically everything is peaceful, and that we have no, and number three, that everyone can access whatever it is, or we can assist them in accessing whatever we need to access. But it starts with, Moors talk about the banking piece, but they don't want to burn fiat. We all have to come on over. Sometimes people want to go ahead on the banking piece, but they haven't done the deprogramming of the other stuff. Islam nobility.
We all got to do the demonstration live.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be funny? Because you know why? Because whenever they started burning books, they were burning our books, and everybody was doing that live. So I'm like, why not? Why not? And just say I printed my own. I printed the real money. We're going to burn the fake. Do you know how, you talk about putting the pyramid back on the right side in our minds? For me, that's what that is putting the pyramid back where it belongs, on the side that it belongs. Knowing that we can print the real money and that what we've been getting is fake. So yeah. Why not, Justice Akil? You don't want to do it live?
I'm gonna demonstrate on to the level of my understanding.
He said, no, not now. We get it, Justice Akil. We get it for sure. We got that one. We got it. Islam, Justice Council.
I am going to be doing that live. I'm going to do sessions where I collect, show them I collect, print, and then burn.
Yes.
Real soon.
Woo. Listen, Empress Shatali, she put it in the chat. We're confiscating. Remember when they supposedly confiscated all the gold back in 1933? We have begun the process of confiscating that debt off of our land, just like we said a year ago. Yep. And you know what? At any point, Moors, and now that I'm thinking about it, we can tell people, okay, if you bring that stuff to us and put it here in this fire, we'll give you this that we're printing, and you use this because it's the real money. And that other stuff is fake.
Sounds like a plan to me, honey.
We gotta take it out of circulation on this level, because this is the everyday level. This is the only place that anybody is even using that stuff. So, I would like to put that on the table for discussion, for us to discuss that and see how we can implement that, where we just tell them, whatever you bring us, we will issue you this. And guess what? The stores and all of that will take it, because we're gonna let them know they got to take it too.
Islam. That goes back to the conversation we had about, I mentioned to you about the offices, the buildings that we have already taken over, essentially, and printing it from like the offices of what the clerk was doing business in, and the mayors was doing, like those places, and printing it and then handing it out to people and saying, take this. And those are where the banks were really anyway, so it does make sense to have that be taking place there anyway.
Yeah. If they bring that in, and then we give them our version, because our version is the real version. And the thing is, each one of those has a number on it. We will know where they got it from by the number on it, because we know what we issued.
Islam, and that's where the accounting and the records come in.
That's it. So let's keep putting that energy. And I listen, I knew once we took the step to at least start the confiscation and burning process, that the ancestors would give us more information about how to manifest that. And that's why I'm saying, Moors, do not plan for lack. Plan for abundance, because it's already here. And as we take one step towards abundance, the ancestors just manifest and bring that abundance through even more so. So, yeah. Let's keep having that discussion. I'm liking where this is going. Empress Chitali says, trade it in for gold. Now, the ancestors showed me how to make the gold happen real fast. I posted it on social media and talked about it briefly at the beginning of this call. So, the gold can manifest real quick. That's not even an issue anymore, really, from what I'm seeing. But of course, I'm gonna do the lab work, the alchemy, and make that happen, make that manifest. And then people can do whatever they're gonna do, and we give them gold, or we at least back it by it. Have the gold physically in our hands. Right now, our money is backed by gold that's on the land that we know is there.
Yes, and that's what I meant. I meant when they are turning in the fiat, they are getting our money that's backed by gold.
Yes. And they can bring however much fiat they want to bring, because we can always create more gold, and we can always create more fiduciary money and dollarium. So no matter how much they bring, we still got it. We still got it. Because the people are the bank anyway, though, really.
Islam, Empress?
Yes, Islam.
So are citizens able to use the fiduciary money? If so, how? Like, if someone was to receive a $50 fiduciary,
they can use it the same way they use that fake stuff. They can use it the exact same way.
But
now,
so would they be like, I guess.
They can't print it. Citizens cannot print fiduciary money, because they're not the fiduciaries, and they're not the Federal Reserve. Exactly. They can get it from us, though. Yeah, and we give it to anybody for anything. The same way banks did.
But to be,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, but to be, safe, they could not go to a convenience custodian convenience store and
yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And they don't have to worry about quantities. Because there's always more. We're going to fund everything.
So would that security be shown from the sovereign account, or some sort of way, something like that? Is that how that system works?
So Well, for example, anybody who gets fiduciary money from me, I will know that they got it from me because I can look at the serial number on the money they're using. So I know that that came from me. And that's, you know, again, we put it out there for the heirs to print and use, and then for citizens, as it comes around, the citizens can use it too.
Okay, so I was thinking about this at work. So is it sort of like not like a charge to the sovereign, not a charge to the sovereign, but like an account to the sovereign or something like that, or a credit to the sovereign? Is that?
Yes. Every time you create something, you're creating a credit for yourself. Every time you print a 100, you just credited yourself another 100, and you can create as many hundreds as you want to create from just one of the debt that you take out of you taking it out of circulation and burning the debt and creating a credit. We actually are doing what's called currency exchange, except we're doing the ultimate currency exchange in that we're not just taking it from a different country, we're actually getting rid of the debt and creating credit. Which is a credit to your account. Now, nobility, for example, all of the fiduciary money that I've created it's a credit on my. It can be a credit either to a bank account or to a bank card. But you know, again, we're in the process of demonstrating all that we're saying. We know that at law it's proper, it is correct, it's lawful. We know that. We're just demonstrating it. So you credit yourself every time you print.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. Most of the subjects and citizens won't really even know the difference. Most of them will not be able to tell the difference between fiduciary money and fiat. Most of them won't be able to tell the difference. But we know. But see, that's the same way it happened in 1933 too. Is some people didn't know the difference. They just knew that everything, the money looked brand new, but it wasn't really money, it was fiat. And so all we're doing is the reverse of that and giving credit, real money.
Islam.
Here in the UK, the notes are plastic. How do we get around that?
So I would have to see what that looks like. But I'll say this, Justice Consul. Make a copy of it. Make a copy of it, and then plastic can burn.
Yeah, that's right. So what I'm saying, after I've made a copy of it, do I use the cotton paper to print it?
I would say yes for now until you're inspired to do it a different way. But I would definitely say yes for now.
So.
Because what you're creating is credits anyway, so it's not supposed to be passing as debt, but some are going to miss it and it's still going to pass. Everyone knows that new money is coming, especially over there. We hear so much news about the UK money system. We hear a lot about how it's changing and how they're confiscating all of the fake money over there, waiting on you all to print some real money, you know. So, yeah, I would like to see what that plastic money looks like. What does it look like? It's not a credit card or anything, is it?
No, it's just the same it was in the.
Is it the pound sterling or something?
That's correct. It's changed from paper to plastic. That's been for the last about 3-4 years going on now.
Mm-hmm. So they knew that this time was coming and that we were going to do what we're doing. The paper money is still good, though.
Mm-hmm.
Even according to the, so I would just print that and let that be. That's what I would do.
I think this is one of the reasons why they came out of Europe and call it Brexit. They knew something.
Yes, they knew. Yeah, they knew. And the European Union, quote unquote, they definitely know. They definitely know what exactly what we are doing right now. They knew that this was coming. So I'll say this about them. They're taking back all of their citizens, quote unquote. What I did not know is that most of the hybrids, which, and again, we love hybrids. We created them. We love them. We're not mad at them in any way. But most of them were carrying, quote unquote, European Union ID, which is different from ours. I didn't know that until recently. I thought everything was the same. They did a good job of acting like everybody was the same, didn't they? Until we look at the results, and then the results are all of the heirs were over here poor, and seemingly, and then all of them were, that kind of thing. But they did a good job of making everybody think they all had the same ID, and they all had the same rights, and all had the same this, that, and the third.
What? So you saying that they were not even carrying?
They had some of the same documents, but they always had that extra one. Theirs had something else in the system that said European Union. Sure did.
Right.
Sure did. I was like, what? And I saw some, I actually, they gave some of it now. Now, I will say this, they did give some of that stuff to the ones that were doing business as Africans over in that other land over there. They gave some of them some of it because you have to subrogate, and there has to be some Moors in whatever system it is. There has to be some Moors in it, or else the system cannot exist. But it was crazy the way this whole thing was being done, and we couldn't see none of it. We were blind. I mean, and I won't say blind, but we were definitely asleep.
And very trusting.
Yeah. And they knew that was a sign of us being the true nobility. Is that we just trusted and believed everything that was said. I don't care if it was being said in a church setting about the, quote unquote, the Lord being fair skinned and having stringy hair, and we was just like, yes, that's God. No matter what people told us, we were just like, okay. Wow. And now it's, I'm just grateful for this wake up. And, like Empress Cynthia was saying earlier, they know we're awake, and they know it's okay now that we're awake peacefully. Because we could find a reason to be mad, but we can't really be mad. We can't, because we were in control of everything from day one. From day one. All we had to do was wake up and speak, just like we're doing. Ancestors ain't going to let nothing happen to us. We're going to be all right. In fact, we're going to prosper significantly right now. Islam, Empress.
I put a link in the chat to explain coins and rounds.
Yeah.
And so, if you guys want to click on it, it'll just really clarify how much power we have, because in the article, the hybrids say that if it isn't created by us, if money is not created by us, it's called a round.
Yep.
You can't even call it coin unless it's created by a sovereign.
So everybody who's been holding up those things saying this is real money, it is not.
And they know it.
Holding up these round things saying this is a silver coin or this is a gold coin. No, it's not.
Yep.
It's a round.
Not supposed to be calling it coin because that's
it's not a coin. Coins can only be printed by sovereign government.
And that's what that link, it explains it. So it really just clarifies that if we don't start tributing this fiduciary money, it's not going to come from anywhere else. It can't. It's only us. They shouldn't even be calling Bitcoin Bitcoin because coin means sovereign money.
Yep.
So So hopefully that really will bring it home for everybody who's like kind of leery about what we're doing. It can only come from us.
When you know that, you won't be scared of nothing. When you know that the only way any money is going to be real or any people are going to be saved or anything is going to be happening on this earth is it has to come through us, it helps you with the fear piece where you won't even be scared.
Islam.
Because the same people that you think are trying to stop you, you're actually going to save their hind ends and their lives, and they know that. But they're supposed to present some resistance, just so that we know our own power, strength, and authority. But yeah, nothing happens until we do it, and now that we're doing it, things are happening. Islam nobility.
Oh, Empress, I was going to say something about just my thought. I don't know why. Well, I was going to ask about, let's say I give somebody on the street a $50 bill or something like that, and they want to take it in the store on their own and make an exchange for something if I'm not around. And if the person over the counter has an issue with the fiduciary note, what do you like? What would you say about that? Like, should I? Like,
so,
I'm not worried about it,
So here's my thing. First, notify everyone in your territory. Notify the banks, the custodians formerly in the office of banks, because we're the real bank. But notify them that fiduciary money will be starting to be circulated. They know they're bankrupt. The 7-Eleven knows they're bankrupt. You need to just give them one documentation that says that the president of 7-Eleven says you will accept fiduciary money, and then you just go ahead and say fiduciary money is Federal Reserve notes. It is Federal Reserve notes issued by the original indigenous Federal Reserve. And then you issue. That's what I'm doing. Those travel arrangements that I showed at the beginning, I issued fiduciary money for that. Do you really think that these people don't know they're bankrupt? Half of them aren't even getting paid.
Right.
So they know they're bankrupt, and they will take money from us or they will not be able to eat.
Wow. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the answer to that is notify.
Gotcha.
Because I'm not worried about us either. We actually need to get issuing very quickly as much as possible. Really. We need to be carrying whole suitcases full of money, real currency, with affidavits and documents, and issuing, and filling up registers and everything so that we can, because it's pretty bad out there.
Yeah.
And only we can fix it.
Absolutely.
Islam. I was going to also state that, give the policy enforcers, fiduciary money with the affidavit, that this fiduciary money is going to be circulating in the area. Because what I heard you state about giving it to somebody on the street and them going into a store, that was apprehension and fear of a policy enforcer being called on one of your brethren you've given it to go exchange it for Federal Reserve notes, and what might come after that, because we've seen it on the news time and time again of, people getting apprehended or even quote unquote quote being killed because of things like that. But that was just what Light already expressed about that part. It's fear. So put it on notice, put these policy enforcers on notice that this is what it is.
Let me hold on. You're right about what you're saying. Fire them, please.
Yeah, just get rid of them. Tell them they're no longer in need of service for the people, because they're not doing it anyway. And this is the fiduciary money. That part, non-prong-tonk.
Yeah, we're not. Because see, if we wait on feeling comfortable, we can't wait on feeling comfortable, and we can't wait on. This is another something, and I've been guilty of this in the past, but the more we do this work, the more I'm thinking if they don't get out the way. And when I say they, I mean the programming thoughts that say that a policy enforcer is even going to show up, because they're not even showing up most of the time for stuff. Okay, that's number one, because they're defunded. Number two, we have said what we're doing in the territories. So, Moors, we have to just do it. We really have to just do it. Or else people will, ain't no or else, we're going to do it. But we can't let our estate go to ruin, and it's not going to go to ruin. But, time out for the fear piece, we really don't have time to entertain the programming. They have already, in reality, the policy, the custodians previously in the Office of Policy Enforcer have already said they're not coming for things that are not an emergency or life-threatening. Okay? But we still need to go ahead and tell them who the real police are and who the real law enforcement is. Give them something from who they thought was their boss, when it's really us. And this is not something we have not done and put on the public record. You've seen our documents where the custodian previously in the Office of Police Chief sent a letter saying that, this, that, and the third is happening. Well, we crafted those because we know who the real police are. It's us. So for those who are concerned about that, craft a letter, because you're the fiduciary, and you need to make sure that as you go about your fiduciary duties, that all is well. That's our job to do that. That's not anybody else's job to do. We have to do that. Make sure that all is well. So go get the signature of the former custodian who was working for you in the first place, and put it on a document and say, fiduciary money is going out, everybody. This is from the mayor and the police chief. Fiduciary money is going out in the territory because the Moors have sued us and we don't have anything to pay them with, so they created their own way to pay. We don't have a choice. They don't have a way to pay us, and they know they owe. How many of us have done liens? Many of us have done liens. Well, you bankrupted them. Now they don't have a way to pay. You got to create a way for them to even pay you, because they were on your land in the first place. And these are steps that, for those that don't feel comfortable doing them, don't do them yet. Do them when you feel comfortable. We just know we have to do them now. We know this. We're not under any illusions at all of thinking that everything is going to be fine if we just sit and do nothing And I'm not saying that others are sitting and doing nothing. Please take your time and contemplate. Always demonstrate at the level of your overstanding. Just know that as we're doing these things, from our perspective, we don't even have the luxury of waiting. It's too much going on. It's too much going on that's in our favor. We're taking advantage of everything that's coming our way. The ancestors are giving us answers to how to access the estate, and we're doing it. So we wanted access to our estate. We got it. We got it. And we're going to use every tool, every element, everything that we can use. There's nothing on our estate we can't use in order to access something else. Signatures of former custodians, that's not a big deal. When you know the lien process and you know that you liened every letter, every number, every piece of ink, every piece of paper that anyone was ever claiming has a lien on it by the Moors. And there's some debtors who can't afford to pay us. Now, we're not even saying throw everybody in debtor's prison. We're not even saying that. All we're doing is saying, okay, let's take this signature right here and do this. Let's take this signature and do this. We own all the logos, so let's take these logos and do this, this, and this. All of that's ours. So, and we need to access. Not that we need to, because the gods don't need anything. We don't have any deficits. But we're going to access everything on our estate, period. And we're going to take our time because, again, we're not at war with anyone. We're going to take our time. We're going to move together and just keep doing what we're doing. And I'm going to continue to put things on the public record because this actually, putting it on the public record is a court action. And we're saying this is what we're doing. So we're giving disclosure like we're supposed to, and we don't expect any resistance, any encumbrances or anything. And so far, so good. So far, so good. And we don't expect that to change. We expect it to get even better. We're expecting red carpet to roll out and people to start, we expect everything to be great and gravy because it's our estate. And we're expecting the same thing for all Moors. Yep. Because nobody can act like they don't know.
Lane, can I ask you a question?
Yes. Justice Consul was about to say something first.
Okay.
Since we're talking about real money, I don't know if many of the Moors on the call are aware of the Bank of Atmorium and the salary. So I don't know. I'll put it in the chat, and they could look it up. They could look it up. There's something.
Yes. Justice Amaru is Bank of Justice Ahmad is Bank of Atmorium. We send honors to them, to the Bank of Atmorium, for they're doing tough work. It's tough work that they do.
Absolutely.
And anything that we're doing, we're hoping that it assists them in what they're doing too. I have a lot of respect for them because they decided to tackle the hard part. The things we've done have been relatively easy because we just do a reversion of estate on whatever is there. They chose to tackle it, the tougher parts of that, So we honor them. Islam. Yeah, I'll put that in the chat. Nobility for the Moors who want to take a look and see how banks are manifesting in our nation. And then, as you all know, the perspective that we take on banks is that each one of us is a bank. We each start out with $100 million, and all the gold and silver and land and commerce and all of that, and then we go from there. In terms of taking back the numbers and taking back the routing numbers and taking back all that belongs to us, the bank account numbers and all that. All we're doing is a reversion of the state on what was already ours that was overlaid by corporate paper. You know, so yeah, we honor all the Moors that are doing work in the banking area and the money area and the, you know, just the vast estate period, the resources. Well, I tell you, if I wasn't us, I would want to be us.
And Lugo gave up a double.
Justice Sharif, you were going to say something.
Yes, it was like I was trying to edit the resignation documents today. I was under the first video that you put out with you put resignation letters under 2 videos. Okay, I believe, and I was trying to edit the documents under the first video, and they appeared to be scanned, and I couldn't do anything with them. Should I be trying to edit the ones under the last video instead?
I'm going to let you work through that. I am going to let you work through that and decide how you want to handle that. Because, you know, if the same way that I produce them, you can produce them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you said just download them and edit them, so that's what I was trying to do, Empress.
You can also, when I say download and edit them, that's assuming you have whatever it takes to do that. But if you don't have that on your computer, then just recreate them.
Okay. And
yeah.
The next thing I need to say to you is that experience you had, was it yesterday or whatever, when the policy enforcer was around or whatever, you was in the store?
That was about 3 weeks to a month ago, maybe.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I get that stuff all the time. I get those type of experiences. And a few months back, I was trying to explain to you about some of those experiences. And I think that's what you're pretty much experiencing, okay? There's not the policy enforcer giving off anything. Some of us got tracking devices on us, and they hit us at some times. They create various little energy spaces to put us in, okay? I have to go through that daily. So they always on your platform messing with you. You know what I mean? So they're trying to control you. That's what it is. It's not anything the policy enforcer is doing. They do that, I'm quite sure, but via satellite, electronically. Nothing to be in fear of. They gon' do stuff to you from time to time. They do stuff to me every day in, day out. Here in San Francisco, I'm not fabricating anything. I'm not imagining anything. Nothing wrong with my sanity. And I get voice to skull communications on a regular basis. What we're doing is, they want to control this. They want to control us. They know that who we are, what we're doing, and we're in law. And they want to control us. That's what that is, and nothing more. Thank you. Islam.
Islam?
Justice Sharif, can you repeat what you said? Because I had unplugged my computer to go over there, and I ran out of juice, so my computer stopped.
Well, I asked you about the documents, and you said you're going to let me deal with that.
Yeah.
I spoke on your experience you had when you got that fearful feeling. It's coming off of the policy enforcement. I get it all the time. I get those are attacks, okay? Those are electronic attacks, okay? And I've been hit with electronic impulses. I get that periodically also. All type of little electronic things go on, with me. I've been getting hit with it, okay? And the research I did tells me that they're doing it via satellites and it's tracking devices that they have on us, okay?
I thought about that, Justice Sharif, that it was satellite-driven. Listen, at any given time, I could have knocked the satellite out of the sky. We're not even, because we're that powerful. So I wasn't concerned about how they did it as much as the fact that it accompanied him. Now, I'm not mad at him because he may not have even known that was coming off of him. The ancestors wanted me to see it and note it so that I can make sure that if I ever feel that again, know that I have the ability within 1 or 2 seconds of energy work to get rid of it. So it didn't scare me. In other words, that's how I noticed it, was because what I was thinking and what I was feeling in my spirit did not match fear. So I'm like, wait a minute, that is weird. Like, where is that coming from? Because it felt foreign.
Okay.
And I did about 5 seconds worth of energy work and it was gone. But the ancestors wanted me to see it and note it and notice it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what I got out of it is that they wanted to see, because they watch us all the time. I'm telling you, they watch us all the time. They wanted to see if they could get you fearful when you're around policy enforcers. That's all they was doing, watching to see your reaction. That's what that was. They
and I didn't budge.
North Carolina, and they was watching me and talking to me.
Well, I didn't budge in the natural. In the natural, you would not have known anything was going on. But I know what I felt otherwise, and it felt weird and strange because I had no reason to be scared. I'm not scared of policy enforcement.
Right.
So I was just like, what's the point of this? Why, and the ancestor said, just make a note of it so that if it comes again, you'll know how to deal with it. And I do. Yeah. So the energy work, Justice Sharif, is going to be important for you because it won't take you but a second or two to get rid of that. They're not more powerful than us. And that stuff is not even naturally induced by them. But naturally, we can beat it without a satellite helping us. And satellites don't stand a chance if we decide we don't want them in the sky. And we don't even have to have any type of weapon or anything to get them out of there. We can disable them with our spirit and our mind. The same way we do with these computers and stuff. And we talked about this at the beginning of the call, that if your computers and stuff are not acting right and you clear your energy and you do it again, it will act right. That's not something that I don't practice regularly. So I already know that inanimate objects are under our command. And I don't care if it's floating in the sky or under the ground or out here. We tell this stuff what to do, not the other way around, So we might, and listen, that's going to go on high the more we get into the introduction of the natural products and the natural minerals and elements, and we get used to using the natural minerals and elements that we use. It's really going to be You know, machines won't stand a chance. They will not stand a chance. I'm telling you now. So, you know, we're fearless, you know, because we know who we are. And the ancestors are just trying to say, hey, make sure you make a note of this, make sure you make a note of that, and then do your energy work. Islam. So none of that stuff is anything that can defeat anybody. You know. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Okay. Islam, Empress.
Yes. To Justice Sharif, I've been through a similar situation, and yeah, all those things are true, just like Empress Light said, and what the ancestors told me at the end was I got to choose between two words, infiltration or initiation. Because I was like, okay, I'm choosing that it was an initiation and that my ancestors brought me through this because they knew I was stronger and powerful, and, you know, they wanted to make sure that I knew that and worked on the things I needed to work on so that I could really convey that. So I yield.
It's up to you, Empress. It's up to all of us as to whether we want to express fear or whether we want to say, okay, I already know that's, you know, that's subject to me. We just get to choose. And the beauty of the choosing of what you just said, Empress, is that all it takes is to change what you call it. It's all in the Word. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word is the God. Now, I will say this too about that energy. If I call that energy, you know, like when policy enforcers come in, and I've actually done a little bit of lab work with this, and it does work very well to the point where I had to stop doing the lab work because it's so powerful. But I'm going to do it again at some point. If I call the energy, if I get near a policy enforcer and I call that energy a power pill for me, then it won't even manifest as fear. It will manifest as power because it's what I call it. And I'll begin to feel more and more powerful with each second that passes by. I've done that research. So that when they come near, I'll almost be looking for a policy enforcer just so I can get next to them to get that power pat. And the one time that I said I'm going to experiment with this, I experimented with it and I began to feel so powerful that I didn't know what to do with all that power. So I had to step back and say, okay, let me pull back on that one for a minute, because I was feeling so powerful that I thought, okay, I better be flying in a minute, because this kind of power you don't even use at this level, on this dimension. You use that kind of power in the fourth dimension. Or if you want to levitate, or if you want to start turning, you know, melting things or causing things to grow or whatever. You know, it's just a matter of what you call what you're feeling. You just call it the right thing or the right energy, and it will manifest as the right energy. It can be something to strengthen you, or it can be something to make you weaker. It's your choice. Islam.
This is Justice Henry here in the Dakota Territories. And I'm sitting here taking notes and listening and talking about fear. It is one of my points and my notes. So what I'm looking at is, it's not, I understand fear and what people think, like you said, how you project it and what you do with it. So it's more like it's more of like a battle sense, I would say. For me, it is. It's like I'm not too worried, but I always got to check my six, as my dad would tell me. Always watch your back. So it's not like I'm not going in there, going anywhere fearful or anything. Even when I'm by policy enforcers, I don't know. Maybe it's just my energy naturally with people is just everybody smiles and waves. Especially I do live in not a small town, but it's, pretty small. People are pretty friendly to a certain extent, but my energy with anybody is everybody is the same. So I wouldn't say so much as fear, but a battle sense for some. And that's how I kind of look at it. But then it goes back to knowledge, because you're going to defeat any weapon, whether it's the pen or the gun, because like once we learn who we are, we keep studying. And for myself, that's what it is just study, study, study. And we have to continue, as I say, roll out to a red carpet. So like you said, with distributing our delirium and real money, just everywhere you go after your liens, start from the top. Because if you already lean the state, the county, the city, you've done that work. It all starts, and I thank you for your work that you do, again, because all those documents that you have that's under the chat. I'm on the phone. I'm not on the computer. But under all the videos were like the 40-something documents now is a great. That's where everybody should start. That's where I'm starting now. I still have to finish our Constitution and put it on the record for everyone. But it's like so much work, but we have to just continue to put in the work. Even some days you don't feel like doing anything, just even if just read one page or write one page, one affidavit or something. It says chop at it a little bit, but those 60 documents start from top to bottom, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to start, and just again, I'm sorry, I'm probably just babbling now. But
no, it makes sense, because you know what I was just going to say. My confidence comes from having done that work, and that's why I think it's important for us to, as many as can craft their documents, even if you're crafting the same ones that we did. The fact that you're typing each word and taking each sentence into your spirit, as opposed to just copy and paste. I'm talking sit and type it out. You get it into your spirit, and once it's in there, no one can take that out of your spirit.
To be honest, though, I do copy and paste, but I do. but I do. Again, because it is so much, but I do go back and I do have to read every single word, because that's where the study comes from. You can't just copy and paste somebody's work and do it. Where's your heart at? Where's your work at? How are you telling the ancestors, I'm ready to accept this responsibility? Because it's a lot. It's a lot, and we all feel that way,
By all means, copy. Well, that's why we put them out there.
Study it.
Is to sweep that curve up, to make it so that everybody is quickly getting.
That's what I tell. I tell my friends and family when I do catch their ear. I'm like, everything I learned in this 7 years, bro. You're gonna be able to learn in 6 months if you apply yourself. Because I have the templates that somebody else put me on. So how can I not? And it's frustrating when a lot of people don't hear. Where I go get my hair cut, and it's just like, but they hear me, but they don't hear me. But it's okay though, because it's still the conversation goes around. So it's like I'm in their ears, so I just have to be patient and go back to studying myself, because I can show them better than I can tell them.
Ooh,
as soon as they say, as soon as they say I need proof, I'm like, what? You need proof for what? Okay, I can either show you my demonstrations on my public records page that I invited you on Facebook, or I can show you the law. You know what I mean? I can show you the law right here.
Yes.
And then it's like, and then it's just crickets. So I'm like, okay. So or I have to fall back, and But again, it goes back to knowledge defeats that fear. So I'm sorry to kind of go off track though.
You're doing great, Nobility. We're honored to hear from you. We are honored, absolutely honored.
And I did have one question on what's been. So with the courts, I don't even want to call them courts. The building that they call a courthouse. So the custodian doing business as the clerk. When we go in, if I heard you say you've been in there to put documents on the public record.
Just to notify them.
You talking about exactly, just notification. But I heard you talking about using a court stamp. So they have a stamp we can use to just I don't know.
Yeah.
Put the time and date that we can use.
Yes. Most county courts or superior courts, and I'm calling them that, but they're inferior to ours, have a court have a stamp that people use to stamp their documents. Those that were previously doing business as landlords would stamp their documents with that, and they just leave it out there on the counter. It's a time stamp.
Okay.
Clank, clank, clank.
Okay.
And yeah. But you lean them first. Lean the corporate covering off of them first, so that because
that's already done.
About that. I will say this about that. The only Moors that I know of that could not find those stamps in their territories is Moors that had not finished the process of either leaning them or terminating corporate contracts. Those two documents right there. So then you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, I mean, I've even sat and had drinks with one of the administrators, and I had a lapel pin on with our flag and their banner, showing them, and he saw it, he recognized it. We talked about some things. It was fun though because we talked coded, because he knew I knew what I was talking about, and he was like, "Yeah, if you're ever in my courtroom, I have to recuse myself because I know who you are." And I was just like, "Oh wait, this is real." Like I've asked for signs, and I've seen some of the signs come true. I've seen some of the manifestations, and again, if you study, you do the work, you see one. I missed the call, one of the calls, and I listened to it the next day, and the first 5 minutes you brought up how North Dakota was looking at all the presidential executive orders and then examining them. So then I was like, what? So I was sitting there wondering, like, are my lanes working? Are they hearing me? A, B, and C? Because again, they don't respond. Only thing that you can know, how I know they hearing me is I look through probably the 50 or 30 to 50 green return receipts. So I just look them up and see, deliver. I'm like, they hear us.
Of course. And you know what? You're seeing those green receipts right now. You're seeing the green receipts only because in the spirit realm you can't see that they have to do what you say. But as you see that, you'll see less of the green receipts and more of them actually doing what you say. So the ancestors take us in stages in terms of seeing them do what we tell them.
What I meant was not the green receipts. I check my certified mail tracking numbers. And I see that they're delivered. Yeah, I'm not getting anything back. They know they can't speak to us. But it's all about our confidence and and the procedure.
Yep.
Procedure. We have to be in the right procedure.
And then being able to see in the spirit realm that they don't have a choice. They actually, they're subject to the Moors, period. And so, I like what you said there, Nobility, about knowing that they have to do, knowing that. That's something you have to know in your spirit. And I'm glad that if we said anything to help with that, I'm glad we were able to, because it's important that more see that, this is our land. Everybody knew that at birth. When we were born, people said, another heir is born, another one that's most likely going to participate in the great redemption and the great awakening. They knew. They knew. And where you are specifically, I believe that they moved most of us out of the quote-unquote Midwest because it's so powerful that we would have woke up way too soon.
Yeah.
That's why I believe us moved had to be out of there and along the other way.
There were plenty of wars. I was watching House of Reawakening Minds when Brother Rod Hayes was on there. He was giving some history that I've been kind of looking into about the tribes up here, our people that were up here, the original, Blackfeet that expand from here to over to Canaan land. Cause I'm right here at the border, right here, really close to the border. Got the Air Force base up here, but he was talking about how the war took all our people down to the south, and we fought the war, and then they brought people behind us and taught them our customs. And I'm just like, wow, let me look up our people. Started from the Mississippis, migrated back up to Mecca, to Chicago area via the Mississippi. It's just like it all comes into place once we study. Everything. It's just amazing. So I don't know. I don't want to talk. I'm sure other people have things to say before we get out of here, but.
Well, Nobility, may I make one suggestion?
Sure.
The one suggestion that I would like to make to you is please don't see it as a war, because it's not a war anymore. Yeah. It's not a war. It was a war. Let me tell you where the war took place. The war took place, Moors, when we accepted their capitalism and we allowed their paper to speak about us and to speak into our lives and to speak over us. When we assented to that and consented to accepting a piece of paper that they gave us, including the FIAT, all of that is paper. And when we accepted their paper, they said, okay, now we can war against you. That's why what we did tonight is so important. The burning ceremony. The burning ceremony. Their paper is no more for us. That's just the beginning. So it was on paper that the war started, and it's on paper that it's ended. It's done. No more war. We have our person that we created.
Islam.
So they can't create a person for us. Islam, Empress Cynthia.
I just wanted to make a remark about when you got up from your chair and you started, my heart started racing, and at that moment I started to get what you were about to do. But when you sat down in front of the fireplace, it felt like you were sitting in front of a portal.
Yes.
And then you lit it up, and it's like sending that energy off to another dimension, leaving our beautiful planet and our energy here on Earth. Yes. That was very powerful, and I thank you.
Thank you too, Empress. Yes. That was our goal, is to send that stuff on out of here. And I'll say this, we're not even mad at the FIAT. It served its purpose, but now it's time for that stuff to go. It served its purpose. Now it's got to go.
It's about war energy. We have to send it off of our planet.
Yeah.
You're right. We're not angry at anyone, but it does represent energy, years and years of it. And we get to send it off to a new place.
Yeah. We have the honor of burning it. We have that honor. And to me, I'm here for that. I'm here for it because it's really an energy. It's a ritual. It's a ceremony. We should have it's a ceremony because the spells were in the paper. The sentences. That's why the ones previously doing business as judges issued sentences. Because it's in the words, in the paper. And we are the only ones who can fix that. And we actually have to fix it for ourselves first.
Islam. Are you going to burn your certificate that was given to you, like the birth certificate, Social Security card, and those documents, the marriage license and such? Are you going to burn those as well?
You know, Empress, that's a good question because now that I think about it, we can recreate those too.
Yeah, I mean, we've already done it over here in the New York Providence territory. Yeah, because those templates are already out there for the living birth affidavit, the living birth, certificate, the living birth, all those things, security numbers. We've done that already. So to burn those would be, because when the brother had mentioned procedures, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking because procedures is also a surgical term.
Yeah.
And how we have surgically removed that corporate person from our living people. And so to undo the spell that was cast when we were crowned at birth would also to be burning those corporate papers.
Okay, let me say this about that. Okay. This is what I'm getting in the spirit realm about that. What I'm getting in the spirit realm about that is to do it the same way that we did it with the FIAT. Take the one that they issued. Because, see, I know there's a reason why when I rendered that back to Caesar that they sent it back. They took their dead into their inventory. Okay, they did that. Because I issued it to them as a death. And then they sent all of that stuff back. And I'm like, why? Why would they send it back instead of keeping it? But I think that we need to first make copies of all of it. The same way we're doing this is get rid of the original, but make a copy of it. Because I'm still, in my spirit, I'm still thinking there may be something, because of what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. He said that there is an estate there. But I know it can't be a debtor thing. We can't do it by debt. I know that. I know also that the hypothecation happened at every level. We needed to do living birth affidavits because those are our national treasures. We needed to issue our own national driver's license and our own, and again, some don't feel the need for a national moorishe driver's license. You don't have to have one. Again, we're just thinking our way through these processes and letting the Spirit lead us through them based on what we know. We needed to have our own national ID that it's not even in the same language as the corporate stuff. Then we knew we needed to take back the driver's license process and the social security number process and issue that as sovereign state. We knew that. And now I'm thinking about that whole birth certificate piece. No, we don't need the one issued by them. We don't need it. But a copy that we produce, there's something there. I don't know. And again, right now I'm just talking through it because I know those hybrids, and they even hypothecated each other because we have some hybrids that are subjects that knew they were subjects that were never going to usurp. They didn't even want to give the appearance of usurpation. There are some real hybrid Christians who are quote-unquote Orthodox Christians, where in their church they still have us up there as the Christ, brown skin, afros and all. They were never going to usurp. They were usurped, and that fake Christianity was brought over here and commercialized. So I know that they hypothecated things. That part I'm going to have to just think about it. I'm going to have to think some more. And I know the ancestors will tell us what to do, because we know we put the ones here in subject status, and they are behaving as subjects should. So they took their dead person into inventory, and they sent all of that stuff back. And I'm like, why did they send it back? They know we don't need it. So then there's something else to it. There's a reason for everything that's being done. There's a reason for it. So I'm just going to keep thinking that through. I'll just keep thinking about that. Islam, Empress.
I've been thinking about the birth certificate as well. And one thing that stood out to me was that my matriarch never signs the birth certificate. What they were doing is, well, in my time, they would give a form and signature, and the autograph was on the form, and then they copied that form on the birth certificate. So he never signed it.
You know, I think that they were recreating and then pushing the recreation as the real one. Yeah. Because I've been thinking about that same process since we started doing our own real money on both sides, the dollarium and this the fiduciary money. And the ancestors brought something to my attention. They said, when you go into let's say you go into a building that's called itself a bank, why is it that they have you show why do they want you to show one of their IDs? Because they always try and get you to show them one of their IDs. The ancestors said the reason why is because they are still trying to represent you as someone that you're not. But if you don't have one of their IDs, then they cannot say we were dealing with one of our subjects. That's why the ancestors had me do a driver's license, a Washington driver's license, which again is the Washington that we put that Constitution on the public record and not anybody else. So technically, the last time I went in and I don't even bank here, so I went in because the ancestors let me in there. They wanted to show me something. I theoretically and technically, I could have given her my Washington driver's license, my original indigenous one that I created, and she could not have told me no. She couldn't have told me no. She couldn't have said it was fake. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I didn't think about it until after I got out of there, but I'm going to go back and do that demonstration because she can't.
They told me.
Well, and the reason they do that, Empress, is because they want the image to be one that they cloned. They're cloning our image and then calling it theirs. Then they can take fees and do this and do that and the third. But you know what? In a minute, folks are going to start getting people coming through there with your fired documentation from the president that this place is closed and you're fired. Leave all the keys and everything on the desk. Everybody you got 10 minutes to get out. But, you know, again, Morris, I'm not encouraging anyone to do that. I'm just saying I'm feeling some type of way about that, Empress, because I know that they keep asking for their ID so they can do whatever they want to do when that is not who we are. Yeah. Now, I wonder what would happen if I created an ID that looks just like theirs, but it just says Washington, just like the one that they would issue. Now, I don't have one because I ain't had a driver's license from them in about 1,000 years. Even the one that I turned in, it was from when I was probably 25 years old. So I wasn't even doing right in my sleep. Because they kept charging, and I'm like, why do I have to keep paying y'all? One minute you're telling me you're going to suspend it, the next minute you're telling me I have to have it, and I got to pay you to get it. Ooh. You know, they was going back and forth like that, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to keep jumping through hoops like this. But there's nothing they could say about it not being what it should be. They can't say it now. Let's get that straight. But the more I think about what's happening and what I'm seeing and what's unfolding is at any time we can recreate anything that's been given to us. And when we recreate it, we can destroy theirs because theirs is a debt instrument. And and they can't say it's not real. They can't say it's not real because it's realer than theirs. This is realer than what I burned. I know that in my whole being knows that. So I just think every time someone shows them a quote unquote fake state ID, which is fake, their state IDs are fake, that all they're saying is, okay, we recognize you as a fake dead fiction.
Yep.
But we can do the same thing they did and just recreate it and let it be the real one. Yep. Because did you know, and has anyone noticed that there's no trademark sign on a driver's license? And even if there was, the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office, that's ours too. We got the lien on that.
I heard someone say that when they were or still are set up to create IDs for us, they would put EM for Moors on ID.
I wouldn't take it because they don't have the authority to call me a Moor.
I know, but I'm just saying that as far as us making it ours.
Yeah, we can do that. But see, if we give them the authority to call us a Moor, then they can turn around and say citizen and subject and slave when they want to.
They just be fighting.
We can't give them a half an inch, okay? And in fact, we taking back all that other mileage. Islam Empress Shasha.
You know, I'm as I'm listening, and now my doggy decides to go crazy. Sorry about that. License. So I was looking up license, the definition of license. It's a permission given by a competent authority. So technically speaking, as the sovereigns, as God, we don't need a license anyway. So even when we accept their licenses, or even if we create our own, we don't need one, do we? Because who is the competent authority to give us?
We are.
Exactly. So do we even? I mean, you know, it's almost the word. Again, we go to the word. And the word being the crux of the spell, then it's a moot point. I mean, aside from it, unless it's from us, but then we don't need one. We don't need that.
Let me say this about not needing one. No, we don't need one on our own land. However, for the Moors that want to do competent commerce, you will want to issue one to yourself.
I see.
You see? For the Moors that want to do competent commerce, because that is competent commerce, you will want to issue one to yourself.
Now, okay,
because that's what a license was for, was commerce on the land.
For commerce, because that's in the de facto system, nobody requires a license by law unless you're driving for commerce.
Yes. Yes, and for example, we're doing commerce. We're going to do commerce.
Right. So traveling.
We have the money to do commerce.
Correct.
So because we have the money to do commerce, we issued a license to ourselves.
For
ourselves,
exactly. Not okay.
We don't need their stuff, but they were here long enough to teach us how to govern. Right. That's really why all of that was there. And they knew that once we became qualified and competent and peaceful and woke up, that they were going to get hard on us and show us what we're capable of doing. See, when we issue our own license, we can pull people over and say, what are you doing on this land with that tag? So that's not a Moorish tag. We didn't issue that. What are you doing? We're being prepared for all of that.
All of that, right.
All of that, yes, Empress, because the land belongs to the Moors.
And every level
and so they taught us how to govern it, didn't they?
Absolutely. Now it's time, like you say, for them to go. Correct.
Yes, yes. And so we have to know these processes in order to maintain order on the land.
Right.
So I'm not mad at the processes. I'm not mad at them. I already know they got to go, and they will go when we say go and not a minute before. And when we say go, we have to speak that competently and peacefully, and then they will go.
And they'll have no choice, correct?
They don't want to have a choice. They want to do exactly as we tell them.
That's it.
They find honor in service to the Moors because they know we're the gods. They really do.
Yeah. They know who we are. Even when we were sleeping, they knew. Yep, absolutely.
Yes. And they knew all they had to do was push a few of us around and we would wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They knew that just push the guys a little bit, they'll get up. Absolutely. Throw them in jail for the weekend, they'll get up.
Yeah. Murder their consort in their army. Yes, sure.
Oh, Miss Empress. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And he's not gone anywhere. He's still here, but yes, since you put it that way, yes.
And
yes, I do.
Attack me. So yeah, I'm ready to get them gone.
And they knew that you were going to make it through all of that and still see your own power.
That's absolutely. I take pleasure in that day when, leave the keys, bye. It was lovely knowing you. No, I mean, and honestly, I'm going to say that whole writing one ship, and, I do have to envision myself as the scales, because there are times, and that's the work. I mean, I'm doing the work because there are times when, the visuals come and I am absolutely, every day it gets better that I do not need to blow, because I blew. I tell you, I blew for a long.
Yeah.
Coming to that place of there's work to be done.
Yes.
You had said, a few weeks back when I did come finally back, Spirit said go to one of the congresses, and you said, you brought it into being, and that's a head spinner, because it really is, but it is. I know it, and I know
God when I see her.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I am not blind.
Yeah,
I can see you, Empress. I can see you with these eyes, all three of them.
You give me goosebumps, and that's it. And it really, in truth, I think I saw it at the time because I couldn't make sense of why it all went so smooth, and it was because of that. And then, Grand Sheikh Taj said it yesterday in.
Didn't he though?
I'm telling you.
He was on fire.
I shall meet him. I mean, he was lit.
Grand Sheikh was on fire yesterday.
I mean, I was lifted in his fire. Do you get what I'm saying? It was like, okay, get to it.
Yes, he can see he sees the he can see the manifestations of things that he's been waiting to see for a long time.
I mean, and the
fact like,
get it. Has been in it all that time, and he can spit, he can taste. He's already there.
Yeah.
That really was very empowering, and I give thanks for all of.
Anyone who did not see House of Reawakening Minds and Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey on August the 17th, 2022 Greco-Roman calendar, please take the time to look and watch that because he was fire yesterday.
I got goosebumps thinking about it. I shall yield to Islam. It was absolutely.
It was fire. Every now and then he will exhibit that fire, and we just have to sit back and let it burn.
Because his fire literally lifts me. It's like, that's my. It really does. It's still very new for me, but it's like I'm just moving in leaps and bounds.
Yes, Empress.
Even a year and a half, or maybe something like that. But I've been knocked with what I've been knocked with. But it is all good. I'm here, and it's wonderful. And I give thanks for all of us, for the Moors, for the power, for the awakening, the grand rising.
Yes, it is.
Islam.
Yes, it is. Islam, Empress. Yes, it is. Yeah, he was on fire, y'all. Just take a minute to feel some of that burn. Don't get too close to the screen because you will feel the heat. But and you know what he said? The title of his talk yesterday was "Do Not Fear. You volunteered for this." He said you volunteered for this.
That was the line. Absolutely, yes.
Don't fear, you volunteered for this. And when he said that, I did get a little fearful because I'm like, okay, does that mean a major test is on its way? And I'm like, ancestors, can I just breathe for just a second? Just let me breathe for a second. And then but they're like, look, you all are manifesting abundance, so you're going to have to, I said, okay. All right.
You said they will not give you what you cannot handle. They know what you can.
They also told me that we're in a new era, and this new era, the tests are not going to be like they were before. The tests now are not going to feel like tests. They're just going to feel like greatness manifesting. We were, we tested through the fear last season, where we would be really scared. We felt the fear energy and all of that, and then we just said, well, we just gonna keep going. Yeah. Now we can think our way through these, the greatness that's manifested. Yeah. That's all we have to do is think our way through it, and we'll get through it beautifully, fabulously, without fear. We don't have to be afraid. And he spoke what I was feeling in my spirit. Don't fear. Do not fear. And it's funny because I had that conversation about the policy enforcers with a couple of the empresses even last week, talking about the fear. And he comes behind, and he always does that. Whatever we're talking about the week before, he will come that next week and say and speak directly to it. And he's been doing that for years. Since I woke up. I can be talking about something either with you all on the calls or with, on calls specifically. And especially if I mention it several times, that next week he will speak about that very thing. And speak directly to it and cast the spell or break the spell.
Well,
it's
I know when I saw the the post that you had put, or I saw it somewhere, and it said no fear, and it was like it hit me right in my heart.
That was about 2 months ago, I think.
Really?
Was it about 2 months ago? Well, I post things like that probably once or twice a month.
For his lecture yesterday.
Oh yes. That was yesterday. Yes, that was yesterday.
Just like it was like I saw it on the Wednesday and immediately looked at the clock and said, "Oh my God, I need to go to this," and then realized it was the next day. But those two words,
yes,
hit me right in my heart.
Yes, he's breaking a spell. He's a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a wizard.
Yeah, because it was like I cannot miss that.
Yeah.
And it yesterday lifted me and has lifted me to move, like I said, to bound.
We have a lot of wealth to govern, and we got to move, Empress. We got a lot of wealth to govern. A lot.
Yeah. It is good, it is done, it shall be done, it is.
Islam, indeed.
I yield. Thank you.
As we command. Yes.
Islam Empress, I just have one quick question. The paper of the linen cotton blend, what color is it? Is it the white or is it off-white?
Ivory.
Ivory. Okay, even better.
Yeah, it actually made it made it feel more like the FIAT, and so I wasn't quite as comfortable with it. But we used whatever we had. We used both the white paper and the ivory, and I'm like, it's fiduciary money, and I actually have to keep telling myself it's fiduciary money so that I don't throw it in the trash.
Laugh out loud. Wow. Yeah.
Yes, because I'm like, wait a minute. Because all this time, remember, Empress, I've been telling people FIAT is not what we want to use. So when I see FIAT, I have to deprogram myself that this is not FIAT.
Yeah.
That's why I had to print it. Or else I'd be like, this cannot be here. Now that's some our ancestors they have a way of doing things where you'll be thinking you're going all the way over here and they'd be like, okay, now come back here in the middle. And you're like, okay. So yeah. Well, Moors, we can go ahead and adjourn here. Yes, that is the Justice Dawood. That is the link to yesterday. Don't fear. Remember, you volunteered for this from Grand Sheik Taj. So, with that being said, I don't have anything further today, but we will come back on Sunday and meet again. And peace and grand rising to the sovereign, ancient, powerful, mighty, strong, wealthy, extraterrestrial,
Zoe,
super heirs, Islam. Peace and grand rising. I'm going to have to get my dictionary and get because I want more words for us. Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam.
Mars, thank you all.
Islam.
Islam Morris.
Islam. Empress Tatali, you be switching up your looks, don't you? I like your photo. That's the CEO look.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Islam.
All she gotta do is pay herself.
There it is. And you know we have a way to do that, Empress. We can do it now.
Okay, wonderful.
Let's put it together. Islam. Islam. We will adjourn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.